Hello, everybody, and welcome to Saber Dice. It is, in fact, Monday, and that means we are here with more Numenera Fury. And joining me on the cast today, we'll go around to everybody. We'll do some little plugs here, and then we'll jump into the action. So we will start with Bill. Who are you, and you ready to get into this?
Hey, Bill Buchanan. I run a channel called Wyloch's Crafting Vids, where I show you how to use hot glue and cardboard to make your own tabletop terrain on the cheap.
Sweet deal. We'll jump over to Jordan. Who are you, and where can people find you?
I'm Jordan with a silent PH in the middle, and you can find me on YouTube. Just search JORPHDAN.
Mm-hmm. And Kenny, who are you, and where can we find you?
I'm Kenny, and you can find me at twitch.tv/Kenny Hill, and I stream games.
Sweet deal. And last but not least, Ted, everyone knows where they can find you. But who are you, where can we find you, and who are our sponsors today?
All right, so Ted, or Nerdarchist Ted of Nerdarchy. You can find Nerdarchy pretty much anywhere searching for Nerdarchy, be it YouTube, social media, what have you. Our sponsors, returning from last week, we have Archania Workshop. You can use the code SAVERDICE to get 10% off your order. Only got a couple more days left of that, so go get it. It's 3D printed terrain. There's a couple mini options as well. All the stuff is great there, so I highly recommend you check that out. Also, we have Dungeon Painter Studio by pyromancers.com. Go check it out. Awesome maps and game prep material there for you. One last announcement. The Wednesday game, Harbinger, is going to be not airing this week. Nerdarchy is actually traveling for a convention. We will be en route from Nerdarchy headquarters to Ohio. So if you happen to be going to Concoction in Cleveland, come look us up.
Sweet. And as chat has already pointed out, there is far fewer beards this time around. So, Kenny, you are in good company this time. We'll try to fix that for next week. We'll see what we can do. Kenny, I'm looking at you. But with that, let's jump into this thing. Previously on Saber Dice Fury. For the past fortnight, a mysterious storm has ravaged the western shores of the Steadfast, making sailing increasingly problematic. King Laird of the Sea Kingdom of Gon believes that something in the western sea is causing this meteorological disturbance and is determined to see it dealt with, so the merchant fleet can set sail once again. His ship, the Albatross, was laden with people hand-selected by King Laird for their skills, abilities, and expertise in their given fields, each of whom boarded with a single purpose in mind: journey the uncharted seas to parts unknown in an effort to quell the raging storms. But nothing comes easily in the Ninth World, and to solve this quandary, Wyloch, Silica, Arri, and Zariff would have to brave the very storm they wish to research. As the Albatross was tossed and turned in the massive squall, the ship moaned and creaked as if about to be torn asunder below the crew's feet. The waves rocking the ship threatened to toss the men from their posts, while lightning tore through the sky, striking the sails and tearing them asunder. But despite the storm's efforts, the quick thinking and ingenuity of the researchers ensured the survival of the ship's crew, only to have their hopes dashed like waves upon a cliff. And that's where we start. You guys have braved the storm, and like a curtain of rain and darkness, you have emerged on the other side to be face to face with a sheer cliff face. Everyone on the crew goes from cheers to immediate panic. What are the four of you guys doing as your boat is careening at mostly full speed, about 75% speed, towards what looks like a massive silver cliff face?
I'm exhausted from the concentration that I've just gone through and sort of collapsed to my knees, and my moment of clarity ends, and I return to just being freaked out.
That's a perfect state to be in, given the situation that's currently happening to you.
So I will scream all about port!
And I will pretend I remember what naval terms mean, and they'll all do that.
Left is left.
Port is left, starboard is right.
Somebody write that down for me. You see everyone's kind of scramble, and they all look back to you, and you see that the bosun who you were standing with and cursing out most of the night looks, and he moves his hands, and you see a bunch of guys. They start pulling the ropes. You see the helmsman grab this, and I believe with Ari's help, cranks the steering and sort of starts this thing to drift slowly towards this thing. You can tell that with the winds at your back now that you have braved the other side and you seem to be in the eye of the storm, the speed you have picked up, you're going to be able to turn sideways, but you're still likely going to hit this giant structure that seems to be coming out of nowhere in the middle of the ocean. But as you guys begin to turn the boat hard to port. There you go. There's some naval things I said. As you begin to turn the boat hard to port, you guys begin to kind of careen towards this at a sideways. The boat's getting slowly pushed into this cliff face, and you guys can see just around the edge, because this cliff doesn't extend very far, maybe a couple 100 feet as far as you can see, and then it starts to curve. There's a slight curvature to this, almost as if this whole thing is circular. The boat sort of careens towards this, and right before it would have hit, there's some sort of buoyancy field that just boom and ebbs the boat against it. You're still like slammed and tossed to the side, but the boat doesn't actually careen into the cliff, and you begin to orbit around the side of this thing. You see the captain looking back and forth to everybody. You see everyone has like battened down the hatches. There you go, more Navy terms. And you see that the helmsman sort of is trying to correct and right the boat, but it seems as though there's some sort of pull keeping you about, I don't know, 200 feet away from whatever this cliff face is, as everyone confusedly runs around the ship trying to figure out what the hell's going on right now. So as you guys go from shouting about the pending crash to secure and whatever the hell this field of buoyancy is, what are you guys doing?
Is the ship stopping, or are we just going around this?
You're just seemingly going around this thing.
We're caught in
We've
a
entered
current.
orbit.
You've essentially entered orbit in this ocean.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Should this be investigated? I mean, we were looking for what's out here.
Who are you saying this to?
Whoever's around. I mean, clearly, these competent people have been more of a help than the captain or the helmsman.
That's true. You do have some addle-minded NPCs. So you're kind of shouting this out, like in general, towards the people around you. You see that one of them looks over. In fact, it is the one that you pulled off of the ship, the one that you guys saved. He kind of looks up to you and he says, "I think, look," and he points towards the sky. I think this is exactly what we need to look for. And as he casts your gaze upward, you see that, like the current or like the gravitational pull of whatever this is, that you can see a curtain of this storm, and it also follows a similar curvature around whatever this structure is in the middle of the ocean.
So what happens if I reach out and try to touch the barrier?
It feels like open air. You feel no resistance at all.
Do we have a dinghy? Boat?
Sure. Yeah, that seems like a thing you'd have on a boat. So you know that there is, actually, this is a very specialized Numeneran craft. And you know that below where the crew cabin is, there's actually a subdeck. And if you go down there, you can see the bosun, especially you, because you had actually learned from the crew here. The bosun has shown you exactly where the life rafts are or the dinghies are, and they actually eject from the lower side of the boat. So you guys can get down there, and it will slide out of the boat like an emergency raft.
The cliff face, does it look smooth, or could we scale it?
It looks so smooth. It looks like an egg. In fact, as you kind of gaze up to it, you see it like gleaming in the moonlight, because it is still nighttime as you're there. And you can see that the curvature is not only around, but it also has a slow curvature up. Your best guess is like an egg, or maybe like the bud of a flower.
There's no shore though, or anything. If we took a craft out, we would have no place to make land.
It seems that way, as far as you can see on the side you're on right now.
Is the water is calm though? Or
the water is calm, yeah. I mean, especially compared to what you just came through.
It might be best for us to circumnavigate around. It seems like we're caught in some sort of current anyways, and we're not in any immediate danger from the storm. We might have better luck and be able to better assess our options if we continue around this object. Yeah.
Sure.
And as we're going around, can I try and keep an eye and study this thing and figure out
Absolutely.
see if there's, something to it?
Absolutely. So we'll have you guys do a couple, like you said, circumnavigate around this a few times. What are you guys doing to observe this? I know, Wyloch, you're going to be trying to look at this from a Numeneran perspective, right? Is that what you're trying to do here?
Yeah, just trying to use my knowledge of it.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm trained in searching, so I'm going to see if there's any kind of clues, oddities, anything that might be able to tell me what this thing is made of. There's definitely a big difference between a massive egg and a massive flower that is sprung up in the ocean. So I will look like at the water level, see if I can see down below, look above, trying anything that might be different or reveal what might not be seen.
Okay. Jordan, what are you doing? Or Arri, what are you doing? Sorry.
Arri is baffled because he is the muscle and he doesn't know how to muscle his way into this situation. So he's probably, what color is this cliff face?
As far as you can tell in the night, basically in the moonlight, you can see that this is maybe silver or white.
It's just really dark though. And he's probably going to watch maybe take like a lantern or a ball of paper or something, light it on fire and throw it in to see if the water is also moving in the same current.
So as soon as you throw something in the water, it also flows with the same gravitational force you guys are in.
Okay. So I think I'm just kind of doing that, like whatever little experiments Arri can come up with in his head to figure out what's happening.
Okay. And Silica, what are you doing?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Like I don't have a lot of skill with the facts and retaining information, but I assume everyone on deck is probably still a little bit in disarray. So I'm gonna leave it up to the people with the skills to figure out like where we should make land, but trying to restore order to the ship and kind of that we've made it through the worst of it.
Okay.
The worst of it maybe.
So you're going to bring everyone's mood up.
Yeah.
So you're going to be the bard of the group. Perfect. So go ahead and tell me how exactly you do that before you actually roll for it. What are you saying to the crew? Or what are you saying to the captain to say to the crew? How are you handling this?
Just, more of just like a rally, like, good job, men. We've made it through the worst of it. We're still here. We still have a job to do. Just sort of like we're through the thick of it, but our jobs still aren't over yet. So just it's more of a rally than anything.
Okay,
so.
Like a reformation of hey, we did it. Roll me. It'd be an intelligence check, but I believe you have training in being nice to people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so roll me that, and it would be difficulty 3 for this one, because everyone needs a good rally right now.
I love the Numenera skills. It's like, being nice to something is something you can be trained in.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, despite you being very nice to people and being good at it, what these people have gone through has been too much. And the fact that they lost Giorgio has been a hit to the crew, especially the fact that his charred, eyeless corpse is still sort of on the boat there. So he's
got to be covered by now, right?
He is covered. In fact, I believe you covered him with something. He is covered, but they know what it is. They know what happened. And now they seemingly have passed through the storm to find a floating egg with no way to get into it, and only the storm facing them back. So they listen to you, and they all kind of grumble as they begin to pull lines in. And you see the captain nod in approval, and then he steps down from the helm and begins to walk over towards you. While you guys begin to circumnavigate this, I will have whatever searching roll or Numenera roll you'd like to give me for Zariff and Wyloch, and that is a difficulty 5.
All right. So is this going to be searching with intellect or searching with speed?
This will be searching with intellect.
Uh-oh.
It's a good way to start the game.
Yeah.
Good.
1.
Good stuff.
Oh, yeah, you can't quite see it in the window, but yeah, natural 1.
Yeah, that's my favorite roll, is when I get free GM intrusions. So what does it look like, Wyloch, as you're trying to refocus your clarity and take a look at this strange egg?
I think I'm still not quite recovered from from helping to guide the ship through lightning strikes, and I'm trying to focus, but I sort of tweak out, like there's a short circuit in my head or something, and it just, none of it makes any sense to me.
Okay. So you're kind of at the side of the boat, and you're kind of looking over it and trying to concentrate, and you're looking this thing over, and you know you should be well practiced at this because you just had some rock star moves on the ship, repairing it and all that kind of stuff. But nothing is coming to you. You're a blank slate. The only thing you can think of is this resembles the egg that you found on the man, but this is, a million times the size of that egg. This was like a tiny egg you found. This is ginormous. On the other hand, Zariff, you are looking at this thing, and as the boat is in that gravitational flow around this, you're looking at it, and you're fairly certain you can actually see the faintest hint of lines running up to the top of it from the base.
It appears that there are some lines, maybe, that could be grooves that could be climbed. I'm kind of a bit of a climber. If we could get out to it, get a closer inspection, perhaps we might be able to get some more clues, some more information. There's quite a bit of distance between here and there.
I'm a good climber as well, and if we want to scale this thing and get to the top, I'm willing to go with you.
All right, sounds like we have something to check out.
We can take a boat over. Seems like have we made a full revolution around this thing?
You have not yet. But you notice that as you do, the night sky is getting brighter and brighter. The first navigation around takes about, if you had to guess, I don't think anyone has a timepiece on them, takes about an hour for you to get around this entire thing. So it is bigger than it appears to be. It takes about a full hour to get around this thing. And as you do so, as you begin your second, go around, you see that the sky begins to brighten up, and you can tell that, or at least you hope that, it means that the sun is rising.
So, is it just Arri and I that are gonna go out there? Does anyone want to come and be able to man the boat?
I mean, we should probably all go.
You want me to go up there?
Not asking you to climb, but somebody needs to man the boat.
I mean, I'll go.
I'll
If they just need somebody to watch the dinghy while they figure out if this thing can be scaled. The problem is if we go out in the dinghy and the boat, the bigger mama boat, is still making its course, it's gonna probably keep moving, and we don't know if we're gonna move with it or if there's another circle of opposing movement.
Mm-hmm.
We might miss out on that.
That is true. You could tether the boat to the ship if you so choose.
That sounds smart.
I was about to suggest that, but how much line do we have?
The boat has enough line. They have they could use the anchor instead if you're in a gravitational force. They can use that, or they can use any number of other extra line they have to replace ones that snap or that kind of thing.
So maybe I should relay this to the captain. It sounds like we're starting to formulate some sort of plan, and he should probably be informed about that said plan.
Okay.
Quarko.
So you walk up to Captain Quarko Cataline, and he's actually walking down from the helm to meet you after you guys convene, and he kind of comes over to you and says, "What is it that you found?"
He comes up to her and all of us.
Well, she just said she walked up to him. So if she's walking up to him, he meets her halfway. But you guys are all within hearing distance from this. So he looks to you, Silica, and says, "What have you found?"
We believe we may have found a way to scale the egg. I'm gonna call it the egg.
What do you think is up there?
No idea, but we're gonna find out.
Good. Well, we got you this far. The rest is apparently on you.
I salute him. We start getting rigging, start tethering the dinghy.
Yep. You see him go off to... Perfect. You see him go off to the bosun, you see him go off to the first mate, and you can see them waving commands out with their hands, and they begin to come and assist you. Crewmen come to assist you in whatever you guys need.
I asked the captain, do you have any life jackets? And I kind of point at my metal arm. I'm not the best swimmer.
Yes, actually, come with me. and he motions towards the double doors that are below the helm. And he takes you back to what you would assume would be his quarters there.
Okay.
So he begins to lead you through, and he throws open the double doors, and you can see that it is a lavish set of quarters. Your best guess would be that this isn't actually his quarters. They're usually the king's quarters, but since the king's not on the boat, he's taken them as his own. And it looks like every kind of kingly wrappings you would imagine in this fancy of a boat, which is probably more than anything that Arri has ever seen coming from a small mining village.
Yes.
There are like... there's
Wow,
like,
the color purple.
yeah, yeah, all of the colors. There's more than just brown. This is interesting. Yeah, there's like window trappings and like curtains that kind of hang down and billow and like poofs and couches, and it just looks far too elaborate than anything you've ever seen. And he kind of walks through, and you see him rifle through an armoire, which might be the first time you've seen that either. And he pulls out 4 small pods and hands them to you. And he says, "Have you ever used one of these before?"
I have no idea what this is. I
Perfect.
feel like I'm just spending money standing here.
Okay, well, he takes one back from you and he stretches it out and places it on your wrist, and now you have like what amounts to a massive scrunchie on your wrist. And then he rotates it towards you, like he pulls your wrist up towards you, and he says, "This button here, if you press this button, this will expand and you will float to the surface. Just don't
Excellent.
hold on to anything else. All the rest of them are for your friends."
Yes, of course. If I push the button again, does it retract back into its own thing, or is it a one-time use?
No, this works one time. That's why we have several
Okay.
of them.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You suspiciously notice that there is not enough for the entire crew here.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have 4
So
flotation
I like
devices.
squirrel it away somewhere, so I'm not advertising that I've got these things. I take it off of my wrist and put it in a satchel or something.
Okay, yeah, so you have 4 flotation devices for you, or just you and your friends, or you know, you can put one on each arm and leg and just be the best flotation device ever. That's on
I'll
you.
be your raft.
Yeah. Ride me ashore. Bosun mate, or Bosun Dorisha, grabs you, Zariff, and she begins leading you downstairs below the crew decks towards this life raft that you were asking about. And you see the life raft looks as elaborate as this ship does, minus the sails. And she basically shows you around and how to launch this craft out into the sea, so that you can do that. Is there anything else you need from her and from that dinghy?
If she's shown me all that I need to do to be able to launch it, to to sail it, I've kind of lost all respect for her. So I'm trying not to give her any more words than I absolutely have to.
Yeah, you can tell that she's trying to act very knowledgeable about the craft and the launching mechanism and how much rope she is giving you guys to belay out there, as if she is trying to. You're not sure if she's trying to impress you or show that she actually is competent, more so than what happened last night. But you can tell she's putting on airs, at least around you.
Well, let's see if she can earn back any kind of respect.
So you see that once she explains to you, they begin feeding a line down through the cargo. It's attached to the mast, and she begins pulling it down and fastening this towards the boat. That leaves Silica and Wyloch on top deck. What are you guys doing to get ready?
Okay, he's out. I'm grabbing or figuring out if I can grab any rations, tools, adventuring packs, whatever the crew is willing to part with in case we don't come back to the ship before we move forward.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
particularly things like rations and tools.
Perfect. So there are plenty of crew rations on the ship. You guys can squirrel some away for a boarding party. That's fine. I believe you guys all have some kind of an adventurer's kit, more or less. And there is whatever resources you need. There is rope here. There is pythons. There is climbing tools if you need them. Basically, there's an adventuring store on board this boat full of supplies that you guys can easily pick up whatever supplies you need that you think you might need. If you have something odd in mind, just let me know, and I'll let you know if they have it.
So I do. You imagine, like in one of those spy movies, like those suction cup Like, you know, when they like climb the side of the building with like plungers, that, or the glue gloves that Wyloch used.
So both of those things
that thing was
exist.
slick.
Yeah, both of those things exist in Numenera, but they are ciphers, and the common folk don't typically have ciphers just lying around. Unfortunately, the ciphers you were equipped with when you started the journey are the only ones you have right now. Although, Wyloch, how long do those... Actually, I think it would be Zariff. How long do those gloves last for?
Yeah, half hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, they're toast.
Yeah, so, like, they worked for the duration that we were up in the riggings.
Yeah.
And by the time he got down, I think we'd even decided that, like, you know, he barely got down before they stopped being adhesive.
Yeah. Perfect. So you have fancy gloves on, though, Wyloch, so that's cool. They don't do anything. They're just neat. So what are you doing to get ready to leave?
All right, I'm just I'm righting myself. I'm kind of recovered. I just fixed up my cloak, and I'm still kind of tweaking out a little bit, but I gradually make my way down to the dinghy to join everyone else.
Okay.
Mumbling about how I wasn't supposed to be here today.
So he mentally composes himself.
Best I can.
Puts on his man pants, ready to rock and roll. Perfect. So you guys all assemble at the life raft here. The captain is down there. The first mate is down there, and the captain sort of assists you all in getting in and gives you like a handshake as you get in. He says, "We will keep the boat here in whatever this is, this current. You'll be tethered to it. It's about 500 feet of line here. As long as nothing happens to that, you'll be fine." He says that with kind of an ominous tone. He says, "If there's anything we can provide you from here, our primary mission was to get you this far. If you think this is where we need to be, then this is exactly where we'll stay."
This is the eye of the storm. I mean, we can see, you know, the ring, the curtain of rain. We don't know if this is what we're looking for, or whether this is just merely a distraction. But let us go out there and see.
Good. I wish you all the best of luck. And he places his hand above the release catch, and kind of looks to you and then nods and kind of waits for a response.
I say, wait.
Yes.
The captain gave us these magic loofahs, and I hand out the magic loofahs, and I'm like, put them on your wrist, but don't hit the button unless and it's a flotation device, and you'll rise to the surface. So if I sink like a rock, so I'm just trying to help you guys out.
So just out of curiosity, are these items or are these ciphers?
These are ciphers.
All right, so some of us might be at our cipher limit, and you said there's weird things that happen, right? So
especially when you roll nat ones.
So can anyone who might be over leave a cipher behind, or like does that
you guys
go away?
You guys can rotate ciphers around to each other. You can drop them off anywhere. Think of a cipher as like the Numenera version of a potion. It's a one-use item, and you can put it down. They're not physically part of your body unless you tell me they are. You can leave them behind. You can give them to other people. Like you gave your gloves away, obviously. So if you have 2 of yours and someone else is down 1 or 2, you can absolutely switch around.
Right. So I'm just making sure because I don't want this dangerous mission to get more dangerous by someone carrying an extra cipher that's gonna possibly cause issues.
You'll be fine. It's not like someone started the game off with a nat 1. I wouldn't do that to you
not
guys.
at all.
So whatever your character class is has a certain limit on Numenera devices, on ciphers. If you are a nano, you automatically are able to have 3. I think Zariff, you can have 3 as well, right? Based on your.
I think I can have 2.
Yep. Everyone has 2. Nanos get 1, or get 1 extra. And I thought you had an extra ability that lets you get an extra one. I could be wrong. I could be made that up. So if you are not at your...
Michael.
Yeah, that's what I did.
My limit is listed at 2.
Okay. Yeah, so if you have your limit or over your limit, just let me know. Or leave your cipher in the boat, or leave it with someone else. Do whatever you guys want. It is up to you.
Wait,
I'm gonna keep my ciphers because I feel like I'm gonna need them. So I'm gonna be over my limit just to make everything really interesting.
How long does this life jacket last?
This life jacket lasts for an hour once used.
Okay.
Yeah, so Silica, I believe to answer the question you were about to ask, is you have a limit on ciphers. You are a jack, I think. You're a glaive. So you have 2. If you have more than 2 on you, sometimes they can interact.
Gotcha.
Usually that's negative. So if you have more than 2, just let me know. And yeah, so once you guys are ready, the captain hits the release button, and you actually see the side of the boat sort of slip into itself and down, and the boat is on the lifeboat's on rails, and it sort of goes to the edge and then tips, and it slides into it. And you can see that the current that you guys are in starts to pull you in towards the giant egg, and the line is being reeled out as you guys go.
So as we're going, I want to take like the first, 10, 20 seconds and try and gauge as we're essentially moving towards the egg, whether and look and see, are we moving at the same pace, like current, as the ship, or is it faster, slower?
So as you begin to as you begin to note this and you're watching this happen, the boat is a larger craft, so its orbit is slightly different than yours. It seems to not be getting pulled in, whereas you are actually getting pulled in, and you notice that the closer you get towards the egg, the faster you go in the current. However, once you hit that limit, your boat does get yanked, and you are ahead of the main craft, but you are still attached to it. You're still tethered to it.
The water's splashing against the back of the back of the small boat because we're tied to the main boat.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Awesome.
It appears as though if someone to look on, it would look like you guys are dragging the main boat with your tiny dinghy, which is a strange sight to behold. So yeah, you guys are out in the water as it begins to slowly drift towards, and then you'll notice as you kind of looking around that the boat begins to gain speed on the Albatross, as you guys begin to circumnavigate around this second time. By the time you guys have reached the full length of this cable, it's likely to be your second lap around. You'll be beginning your third lap with the amount of preparations and the actually getting out there. And you can see that the dark twinkling over a nighttime sky is beginning to turn those oranges and pinks and reds as it is clearly about to be dawn. And every 10 or so minutes that goes by, you're dragged just that much closer and that much closer and that much closer towards this egg. Is there anything you guys are looking for or trying to do while you're waiting to basically hit that egg?
All right, so a couple things. Number one, I want to keep an eye out on the line. See it, so I'm like constantly going in rotation between these things. Look at the line, make sure there's nothing that's interfering with between us and the Albatross. I want to be looking in the water, see if there's anything alive that's moving around, shadows or tiny things, whatever. Just I don't want something jumping up and attacking the boat or attacking us. And then as we get closer and closer to the egg, I'm looking to reaffirm the lines that I saw, because right now everybody's doing this because of something I said. I want to make sure I'm right, and then perhaps if there's anything more revealing of that information, all right, that's where I want to try and aim for, because 200 feet across the open ocean to this thing, being within 100 feet, 50 feet, things are going to be easier to decipher or notice.
So you can roll me another searching. That would be intelligence, and it was the same as before, so DC 5. And what are the rest of you guys doing?
I'm looking around, noticing what everyone else is doing. Someone's tending the line. We're looking at the egg, but I want to look down. I'm curious as to what's in the water. Is it a different color? Can I see any creatures under there? What's down?
Okay. Roll me that Numenera check, DC 5.
That's going to be a no-go.
I see that. So what are Arri and Silica doing as well?
So I'm definitely pulling up some sort of like Captain Morgan stance up on the prow of the boat. I very when Washington and that very famous colonial painting where he's up on the front and the men are in the back kind of doing their thing, and I'm looking forward. I'm keeping almost like a horse with blinders on, just this this kind of forward-looking search out, and I still have hopes that we'll somehow see some sliver of landing that we can get on, because I'm not super confident that I'm going to be able to scale this.
Now, are you actually searching, or are you just making sure everyone notices how cool you look?
The latter.
Okay, cool. So you are Miss Washington crossing the Numenera in Delaware, and making sure everyone at least sometime pays attention to you. Maybe a prom wave at the ship from behind you. Okay, awesome. And Arri, what are you doing on the ship as well?
I think we don't really need to row because we're being pulled in, but I definitely want to like try and control our speed. So I've got the oars in the water, and I'm trying to like navigate us to come in at a nice, like the right perfect angle to kind of line up with one of these lines to see. And are these lines like human sized or like finger sized, or
so from where you were, you couldn't see on the ship, but now that you get closer, they appear to be so Zariff, that's a free one you get. There are still lines. They didn't go away. You still see them. They appear to be, from the distance you guys are, maybe finger if you're lucky. They are barely visible even at this length. Like the only reason you can see them is because Zariff pointed them out. So you're kind of looking specifically for them. But this looks like a hairline crack in between, two pieces of something. And they are, as far as you can tell, they are equidistant apart all around this thing. They go up and they go kind of like all around it, like an orange slice, I guess.
Yeah.
So
I guess I'm going to use my oars to try and like get us to one of these to inspect it, to see if we can pry it open, to see what's going on with it.
Okay, make me a strength test, DC 4. Perfect. So you are able to navigate with the oars. You kind of jab them in there, and you direct the boat exactly where you want it to go. And you want it to go to one of these lines?
Yeah.
Perfect. And Wyloch, you spend most of your focus looking down, which is great because you spent most of the ship ride looking down as you hurled over the side. So you're very well acquainted with what the water looks like. And you notice immediately that this water does look different. In fact, there is a dark shadow underneath this egg. And it's not bright enough outside right now to be casting a shadow. Your best guess is there's something beneath this egg, and it runs deep. Like you can see the shadow go for a while, and you can see that warped discoloration go down until everything sort of blends into that same dark, dismal color beneath the waves. But this structure definitely descends into the water somehow.
Okay, so I look over to Arri and I say, "There's something under there. Careful."
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Someone was gonna do it. I knew it was gonna happen. I had high hopes.
The bigger boat's back there.
That's a wrap. That's it. It was a real short game tonight, guys.
All right, that was fun, everybody. Thank you.
The boat capsizes. Everyone dies. So speaking of the boat capsizing, you all simultaneously hear. I can't make this noise, but it's a great noise. You know that noise when like an elevator drops and there's that twang, twang, twang of the tension on the metal cables kind of snapping? You hear that metal snapping kind of noise. And you, Zariff, are looking back and forth between the line, and you hear that noise, and I imagine your eyes snap to the line immediately. Fortunately for you, it's not the line. It is, in fact, coming from the egg itself as you begin to see the crevices widen, and you see the top of the egg slowly begin to fall down as if being cracked. And it begins to ding, 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 that cracking noise. And you see that there are more of these eggshell shapes inside of this as the sun crests over the top of the storm, and you see the pieces of this egg peel away like the petals of a flower as they begin to fall. And I need all of you to make either a speed test 5 or a strength test 5 to stay in the boat as these collide with the water and send tumultuous waves everywhere.
I'm going to put some effort into this because I'm real scared of drowning.
Okay.
I have just incredible balance skills.
Done.
So I feel like yes, okay.
Absolutely.
So would training in sailing count as a asset today?
Sure.
So when I use effort, I reduce my pool by 3, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Oh, 2 for 2.
Yikes. Off to a rough start. There we go.
Finally.
Yep. And last one would be for Zariff. And Silica, since you succeeded with such a high number, I will allow you to reach out and snatch one of your fallen comrades. So, because I like to give the players hard choices, Kenny, you get to choose between Arri and Wyloch here live while they watch you.
I'd probably go for Wyloch.
I see. No, it's fine.
I mean, this party only needs one glaive.
Wow. Cold. So you reach out and snatch and sort of grab him as he hits the water and begins to flail about. As you look over and hear the sploosh on the other side as Arri hits the water. Arri, you are caught in the current, but you are again a smaller craft and are being pulled quicker than the boat as you begin to pass underneath the line and then towards the front of the small craft you guys were just in. The rest of you do manage, in fact, to hang on to some degree. Well, Wyloch, you are still in the water, being dragged. So quickly, Silica, you get dragged to the front of the boat, holding on to him as you begin to slowly pull him inside. Arri, what are you doing?
Probably take a big gulp of air and activate my wrist loofah.
Arri, don't think of her choosing Wyloch over you, that she likes him better. Wyloch's needed the most help, all game so far.
Yeah.
It's a commentary on my capability.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna activate my my life preserver there to see, because I just panic. Like I hit the water and I'm gonna sink like a rock. So
Perfect. That makes complete sense to me. So you immediately, and it explodes with a force that sort of just inflates, and your arm kind of goes up, and now it's a little bit harder to actually paddle with this giant donut on your arm.
As soon as I see Arri go overboard, one of my ropes that I have with me, knowing full well that this could happen, is like, shorten several feet to get a weighted end. And I'll grab that and toss it out towards him.
Perfect. So Arri, you can grab onto that, and you can make me a strength. It would be a DC 3. Actually, it'd be DC 4 with an asset of that rope to try to get back to the boat.
Let's get back to the boat. Perfect.
This thing lands right in front of you. You're able to get that donut in your hand over there. You kind of grab onto this. I assume you have the donut on your metal arm, because that one needs the most help. As you begin to slowly pull yourself back in with the help of Zariff, as you get flopped like a wet fish back into the boat. And you do notice that this egg now has opened up, much like the image on the screen, has opened up to be some kind of flowering pod that you can possibly get into. In fact, you can see that there are multiple layers to this, and as you're kind of adjusting to the now increased brightness of this thing, especially with the reflecting of the sunlight off of it, you can see that there is flora and fauna. There seems to be trees and plant life somehow inside of this egg, just blooming. Like literally, as you see life begin to spread out from the cracks of this flower, you see the actual things bloom to life. As if they too were closed up like the egg.
Anything I recognize? Like any kind of, are they all weird foreign kind of plant life, or is it something like, oh, it's grass and there's an aspen tree? And
there's definitely some kind of grass-like thing, but in general, Numeneran culture, or Numenera and flora and fauna are strange and weird. So you, Jordan, wouldn't recognize any of them, but Arri might. So if you'd like to try to identify some of this, you can roll me an intelligence test. It would be
I'm real not good at those.
Yeah.
What's the DC?
It would be a DC 4.
Let's try it.
So this egg opened up, as like kind of in sync with dawn.
Yes.
Now, did the shells like fall and like collapse, or did it just like stay open and the whole thing looks like a flower now?
It stayed open and looks like a flower now. It looks like your best guess it would be that they are hinged and they just fell at a rate that made a bunch of waves and threatened to overturn you guys.
So I'm gonna gather that this thing is gonna close by at nighttime. Just putting that out there to to the party. So I don't think we should consider staying, for longer than the sun is out.
But it'll reopen, right?
I,
I mean,
Just
its
a
chance
nice,
of reopening is
comfortable
as good as its chance of closing is.
I mean, we're here to investigate it, so either way, we're getting in that thing.
yes, but I think it would be safest to say that we should be planning to be back on the boat before that sun goes away.
You all do notice that the current seems to have slowed down considerably now that this thing is opened.
Silica got me back in the boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just observing this thing like everyone else. I have Xanadu from Rush in my head.
Yep.
And
Perfect.
can I take just a beat here on the boat, catch my breath, literally, and use an action to do a recovery roll?
Absolutely.
Okay.
If any of you guys want to use your actions to do recovery rolls, that is 100% on you. There's a 10-minute, there's a 1 hour, and a 10 hour. And anytime you guys want to take those breaks to recover hit points, go ahead.
All right, so I can get 2 to 7. I'm only dead.
So I got 6, and I can distribute those 6 among any of my 3.
Yes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep, that is correct. Yeah, the number next to it is the number of minutes you will have to rest to be able to take that.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same.
Okay. Yeah, so you guys notice that the current has begun to slow down enough so that the wind behind the Albatross is beginning to catch up to you guys. You guys could tether back and pull yourself back towards the boat. You guys can direct the boat inside. You guys can do any number of things. So what are you guys doing as you're kind of catching a breath and relaxing here for a second?
I think it would be a waste of time to go back to the other boat. So we probably have some way to signal to them.
Sure.
With, I don't know, flags.
Sure.
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
that we're going to disembark onto, because they've seen that this thing's huge.
Oh,
they
yeah.
saw it open.
Yeah.
They probably had some waves themselves that they're dealing with.
Absolutely.
They probably think we're really good at this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
Right,
they got it
they're like,
open.
yeah, those guys really know what's going on. They got this. They got this down.
The bosun
so
understands why you don't like her after you just opened with a giant sea flower.
So I think I'm going to signal back as best I can that we are disembarking and we're going on into the flower.
Okay. Yeah. So you flag them down. Is your intent to have them continue in orbit around this, or do you want them to land as well?
Ooh.
It seemed like the bigger boat had a hard time getting close to the egg for some reason. I don't know.
It
if
did
it was just a
until the
mass
boat
thing.
ended. Until the boat opened. The egg opened, rather. The gravitational
okay.
force was greater on the larger thing, so it pulled it. It kind of kept it away, but now you notice that this gravitational force is lessened now that it's opened. In fact, the waters seem almost calm, and if not for Arri kind of holding on to the oars again, you guys would probably come to a standstill. You with no sails would come to a standstill.
Do we need them for anything?
The oars or the people on the boat?
The people on the boat. I guess the question to my colleagues here.
Well, I think it might be a problem if this thing decides to close up again, and the ship is smack that up against it.
Yeah, I
Right.
agree. I think maybe keeping it out there for right now. We'll go back if we need to. No
Okay.
reason for the boat to get closer.
If it can drop anchor, it's probably safer where it is.
So that's what I'll signal to them, that they should drop anchor, and just wait.
Okay.
Like standing orders, just wait.
Sure. So you flag back as Arri navigates inward towards the sea flower, and you see that you actually hear the splash as you see the anchor sort of drop and begin to clink, 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 down the side of the boat, and you guys are able to navigate inward into this giant, whatever the hell this structure is. As you guys get your boat to what makes for a shore here, you see that, just like the image here, there is all kinds of grass and shrubbery and greenery sort of leading up from the inside of this down to the water. In fact, and it almost cascades down like lily pads into the water. sort of forming like a base around this flower, almost. You are able to dock your boat there. You tie it off somewhere onto this, like, one of the vines here, and proceed inward. How do you guys proceed inward?
Do we want to head to the tip of the petal, or do we want to head into the crux of two petals?
I mean, I guess it just depends on what can we see if we're kind of underneath the petals that are overlapping each other.
Mm-hmm.
Can we see out towards the tips that have opened?
You can, and unlike the outside, unlike the exterior of this shell, the interior is between lush life. You see that there are white patches just like the outside. So it seems like this structure is all the same kind of material. However, the internals are, there's some kind of flora and fauna. And if you look between petals, you can kind of get a good enough view between the first and second petal. It appears to be on each petal. So all of these things seem to have some kind of flora on them, and then the one inside of it has flora on them, and so on and so forth. So when they close up, it seems to form some kind of like dome of nature.
Is it, like you said, there were vines and stuff. Could I grab one and try to climb up onto one of these petals to just get up there?
Sure.
Okay.
Once you get onto the actual structure and begin to climb, you see that these petals extend for quite a bit. Each one of them is a decent bit out there. It's going to take you probably like 10, 15 minutes to get to the midpoint of one of these petals. And you can see that there is like forestry and like shrubbery and that kind of thing. So it's going to take you like 30 minutes to an hour to get to the tip of the first one. That's your best guess of the lowest level. And the ones interior seem a little bit higher of a curve. But you can absolutely get there. In fact, on the first one, you don't even need to climb the vines. You can kind of just navigate your way through them towards the tip of the first one.
I say we do that. Just easily climb up and then walk down the petal towards the center.
Yeah, so essentially you guys, let's say you guys are like right in this general area, you would be going to the tip of like this one. If we're looking at the picture there.
And where's the picture at?
It should be, did I not pull you guys to it because I'm a jerk? That's what happened. Hold on. Whoop, there you go. Now you guys can see what I'm seeing. And everything makes so much more sense now.
Yeah, I was watching on the stream,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
it's too late.
Yep. You know, sometimes we mess up. So yeah, if you guys dock like in this general area, you can climb. You can easily climb to this petal here, the tip of this petal.
Okay.
Yeah, but now that you are close up to this thing, it does seem massive, a massive structure, and the flora seems to go further inside this as well. But yeah, you guys can get your way up to the top of that petal if you so choose. Is that what your plan is?
I think so.
Cool.
Yeah.
And a quick shout out to 100 Years Boar for that super chat. Cheers. Saber Dice rules. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, so who's leading this expedition through this dauntless jungle? Sure. Good. Good.
I volunteer as tribute.
Awesome. So what does it look like as you venture forth and navigate through this dense underbrush of this foreign whatever?
I mean, it's hot. It's humid because
Mm-hmm.
if you've I've been to the Amazon.
Mhm.
It sucks. It's like breathing underwater.
Mhm.
So I imagine it's pretty difficult. It's probably pretty slow moving, and for those of us who are wearing heavier armor and cloaks and things, it's probably feeling a little claustrophobic at this point. So
Perfect.
not the sunny beaches of Southern California that some of you might be more familiar with.
Mm-hmm. And it is that like dense feeling of heat. And in fact, if anyone has experience with snow, you have that reflective quality kind of coming up from beneath you as well, as intermittently between the greenery on the ground, there is this sheer silvery white material that the rest of the egg is made out of, kind of reflecting light back up at you. So there's points where you're not only shielding yourself from above, but you're also shielding yourself from below, from the glare coming up at you as you navigate through this dense underbrush. You guys are able to make it to the tip of the underbrush unimpeded, fortunately enough for you guys.
So
what are you looking for?
Is there any actual dirt, or is it all like, metal?
It seems to be all metal, or all whatever this whitish silvery material is.
Can we ascertain what the thing is? Like, you wrap on it. Is it like shell? Is it actual metal? Is it stone?
Sure. Go ahead and make me a search. It would be difficulty 3.
And while we're stopped, can I get down on one knee and try and harvest a plant?
Sure. Any plant in particular?
I'm picturing like Pandora from Avatar. Is that sort of accurate?
Absolutely.
Okay, the most colorful one.
Okay. Yeah, you absolutely do. How delicately are you harvesting this?
As delicately as as I can, being I'm sort of tweaking out.
Okay. So you reach down there and you grab the stem of a plant. You begin to yank, and as you yank, you actually like pull, and you notice that the flower that you're grabbing, the stem you're grabbing, isn't actually embedded into the material at all. This appears to be attached to the vines that you're kind of walking through, and the vine seems to run back towards the center. It's almost like none of these plants around you grow up. They just grow long and sort of follow the arc of these petals. You are able to sever it with, I'm sure you have like a boot knife or something like that. You are able to sever it, and you now have this strange, it looks kind of like an orchid where the petals kind of peel back and around, and it goes from orange at the tips to purple at the center.
Got it.
For you, Zariff, you reach down, and how exactly are you trying to ascertain what material this is?
I'm going to touch it with my fingers.
Okay. It feels cold to the touch. Your best guess would be this is some kind of metal, but the metal itself seems foreign to you.
I'm going to keep that in mind, and if there's any way I can get a piece of it to bring back for further study, or to show the people who know metallurgy, maybe they might know something about it.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, so as long as you have, so if you see like a chip of it somewhere, you'll grab some, unless you have some kind of metal cutting tools or find some kind of device that would do that.
Arri sees what you're doing, and he walks over and he's like, I might be able to help you with that. And I don't know, Michael, if I'm being a miner and stuff, maybe I have like little chisels or something like that. Could I try and break off a piece for him?
Sure. Roll me a strength check, and I will give you an asset for your backstory.
What's the DC?
The DC for this one would be a 6.
Ooh, goodness.
Is he trained being a miner?
Well, yes, he is trained being a miner. We'll say that.
So you're trained and you have an asset. That's something.
Yep.
Oh.
So you reach down with, you don't have your full mining kit, right? You have like a small chisel, something in case you need to take a sample, and you kind of just use the force of that metal hand to bang into this, and it is impossibly hard. You slam into this with your chisel, and it just like nails on a chalkboard down this thing. It doesn't seem to impact at all. When you move your hand back, there's not even a scratch. There's no scrape. There's no little divot there. Wow. There's nothing. It seemed to have no impact at all on this.
I whip around hearing that noise, and I'm just like, do not.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's almost echoing in the stillness.
Now I want this. Now I want this even more. I mean, can I see, like, is there any impact or damage to his chisel?
What's your chisel made out of?
Probably a steel.
Okay.
Iron. Maybe.
Is this the chisel like you would be using in Omar, like the mining complex at Omar?
Yeah, like a pick that you would use with a little hammer to kind of break away certain pieces of rock to then find veins of ore and stuff.
So Zariff, if you take a look at his chisel, if you take like a pencil and just go real hard on it on one angle where it kind of slopes in, there is the barest little slope of where he scraped this thing, seeming like the egg had more impact on the chisel than the chisel had on the egg itself.
I'm sorry you messed up your chisel.
Nah, live and learn. It's a tool. Tools can be replaced.
So we've made it out to the tip of the petal at this point. We've kind of exhausted that direction. So we got a flower. We tried to chisel away some material, and now maybe turn around and head back towards the center, where we'll probably find our objective.
Something occurs to me.
Yes.
So we've continued out to the tip, and I've just been looking at the flower I harvested, and then I have a sudden realization that the vine went back to the center, right? So I just say, be on guard. I think all of this might be one organism. It's just a hypothesis.
It is entirely possible. I mean, clearly there's no dirt here, so like the vine has got to be drawing nutrients from something.
Perhaps the ocean itself.
And if
Plant monster. Great.
if Zariff knew anything about plants, I might have some crazy speculations, but I don't.
Can't be good at everything. It's Numenera. So yeah, as you guys approach the tip of this thing, you can see far out into the ocean, right up to where the storm is, and you can see that despite the daytime, the storm looks just as dark as it did the previous night. You see that your boat is still anchored out there. You see the dinghy is still anchored out there. However, because you are on the tip of the lowest pedal, there's not a whole lot more you can see inwardly, unless you actually move inward. You can see that the remaining pedals, the ones that are above you, all look exactly the same. They are smooth to the touch, or they are smooth to the surface, and there seem to be no lines and crevices, despite what that picture might have you believe. That it looks exactly like the outside. It looks like there was like maybe 3 eggs in one, is basically how it looks.
No crickets, no birds, no sign of wildlife anywhere, just plants.
Just plants right now, yeah.
And is it mainly vine and flowers, or is there other stuff?
There's other stuff, but everything seems to, if you root around in there, based on especially what Wyloch told you, if you root around, everything seems to end up connecting to a vine in some way.
I'm going to take his advice very seriously.
Yeah, there hasn't been any like trees or anything like that. Everything seems to be like small underbrush, shrubbery, like a bush, flowers, like a bed of flowers. But everything seems to touch vine at some point and travel back.
There wasn't any kind of reaction when he snipped the flower off.
Nope. In fact, if you follow a vine, there's different kinds of flowers and shrubbery and different kinds of plant life coming off the same vine as well. It seems to be no rhyme or reason to what grows out of what.
This is interesting.
Day's getting on you, rogues. Should we go back to the center?
Oh, I imagine this is all happening while we're walking.
Yeah, you guys are doing some digging around and moving things around, and everything seems to just lay back flatly down where you drop it. It doesn't like wriggle back into any kind of crazy position. It doesn't seem to be any more alive than any other vine or bush or flower anywhere else.
I'm just, I'm trying to look at everything that might present us with some kind of clue or information, without holding us up. I mean, clearly, Silica has got a destination in mind.
Sure. So, Silica, as you have taken lead of this party, where are you taking them?
I know that after the first rule of adventuring, the third rule of adventuring is head towards the center.
Sure.
So. Just like we were heading towards the eye of the storm, the way the geometry of this egg structure has opened, everything connecting to these vines that seem to grow towards the center, everything is sort of naturally leading us in that direction. So I'm definitely pretty confident that that's the direction we need to move. Mm-hmm. But I am pretty concerned about what Wyloch said about looking at the flower, and he's acting a little weird. Well, no more weird than usual, I guess, but weird. And so I am on my guard. I have my forearm blade out. I'm ready in case anything decides to go sideways on us.
Sure. So you guys, you lead everyone back towards basically where you moored the boat, and you begin to head inward between the petals of the flowers. The first thing you notice on the second tier of the flower, essentially, it's no longer underbrush. This seems to be larger. You see that there are small trees. There are like copses of trees. The flowers are bigger. The stems are bigger, like sunflower size, but even larger. And you see that as you progress inward, the flora seems to get larger and larger the closer to the center you go. And if you beeline up towards the third tier of petals there, you see yourself on the edge of a dense jungle heading in towards the center of this.
Like dense enough that we're gonna have to cut through it, or dense enough like can we just wiggle our way through it?
What's your experience with jungles?
I mean, I'm pretty well traveled throughout the main continent because I come from an affluent family.
Sure.
So we would have traveled quite a bit.
Okay, you think that the more adept of you could wiggle through things, but you may have to cut your way through at some points.
How do we feel about that?
Ari's interested, so he's following you, willing to cut through some things. Unfortunately, I have just a giant hammer, so I don't know if anybody has a spare knife that they could thing, but I'll machete my way through this if I have to.
I've got a couple blades.
Cool. So you guys, to give you a descriptor of what this kind of looks like, think like Florida Everglades, where you have those large rooted trees that are in the water, except this time there's no water. It just sort of ends in vines. And you see these massive trees kind of extend over, and then they look kind of like a weeping willow, where their branches sort of descend back down like vines, and there are flowers and leaves budded all along them.
So we have a canopy here?
You do have a canopy here.
So when that came into view, and that's clearly where we're headed, I would have stepped up my pace, and there would be an audible sigh when we cross into shadow.
So yeah, you would notice this sense of relief kind of come over Zariff.
Kind of. Okay. That's good. That's great.
You're probably fine.
we don't really. I mean, we've spent some time on the boat, and he did always seem a little bit odd being out in the full sun during the early days when the seas weren't so rough. Didn't come out up on deck too much, but it's still, some of the oddities of the group are still a little bit off-putting to me.
Like everyone's nuances.
Yeah, everyone's got their own quirks.
Perfect. So yeah, you guys approach the edge of this forest. You hear Zariff sigh in relief as he enters the darkness of this canopy. And how do you guys plan on proceeding? It seems like there was some knives passed around. Silica seems to have some kind of destination in mind, or she's just a driving force to be reckoned with. So how do you guys proceed into this forest?
Well, I think, despite the fact that I don't like that cursed sun, perhaps we could scale some trees and get a bead in on what's in the center, pick a path, and go from there.
So you want to climb a tree to kind of gauge the best way to go?
Gauge the best way to go, gauge what's out there. I mean, we're exploring unknown territories, which is kind of one of the things that I do. The more information you have, the better prepared you are to handle what's out there.
Yeah, I'll put my hands together like this, like I'm gonna for a foothold, and I'm gonna say I'll like hoist you up as high as I can get, and then the rest of the climbing's on you, sir.
No problems. So I mean, willows are pretty easy to climb, if I remember correctly. How tall is this thing?
This looks like it goes up a good 100 feet to the top of this thing. Yeah, this looks like so the larger trees, they seem to be a good 5 to 10 feet around, and their branches, they sort of, unlike a normal willow where everything just rises to the top and then kind of spills back down, you see that there are jutting branches every once in a while, making it easier to climb, but they jut out and more of these vine-like appendages sort of drain down, as if you stacked several willows on top of each other, essentially, is what it looks like.
All right, so I want to gauge what I would think would be like the midpoint of where this thing is. Excuse me. And then I want to tie myself off. I don't know if you need a climbing check, but giving you my plan.
Yep.
So that if I fall, I'm gonna fall and then like pendulum swing, not hit the ground.
Sure. Yeah, make me a climbing check. You have a rope you said you're using,
Yes,
and Arri is giving you an assist, so that is 2 assets there. And this would be a difficulty, this tree is pretty easy, so this would be a difficulty 3. You might have a 0 on that, in fact, so you might not even need to roll.
All right, so difficulty 3. I'm trained.
And you have 2 assets, which means this is a 0. You easily climb up this thing.
Okay.
Yep, with your preparation and Arri assisting you, you absolutely scale this as high as you need to, or as high as you reasonably decide to poke your head out between these branches. And now, what exactly are you looking for out here?
I'm looking towards the direction of the center. Seeing what kind of information, like does the canopy go all the way to the middle? Is there, like, does the canopy break off and there's an open valley? I'm just trying to gather whatever information, whatever intelligence I can have to be better prepared for the journey.
Okay. So the first thing you see is that there is a large column in the center, like a tower in the dead center of this. You do see that the canopy sort of moves in as dark as it has been, and then sort of not quite like a valley, but it sort of seems to die down, and
It tapers off.
It tapers off, and the floor begins to get shorter and shorter as it gets closer and closer to the center. You do notice that there are these strange metallic, whatever the sun substance is, outcroppings like mountains in and out of this forest. You see every once in a while it juts up above the tree line, and then it like shears off at strange angles. And from up here, that's what you see by default. But if you want to see more, go ahead and roll me a searching check, and it would be a difficulty 4. Okay, so you kind of look out, and as you're standing on top of one of the branches kind of peeking out through this tree, you think you can see that you haven't felt any air or wind or anything here, but you think you can see deeper in, you see some tree rustle. What it was, or if that was a trick of the sunlight, you're not entirely sure. That's what you think you see.
All right, so I will scale back down, and then I will begin, given the short version. The canopy does seem to taper off as it heads in towards the middle. Centralized, it seems to be some kind of tower or structure. Perhaps that's going to be our goal, where we glean whatever might be within. But I think we should keep our eyes and ears prepared. While I'm not sensing any breeze, even though we're out here on the ocean, I did see some trees and some brush move about and rustle. So there might be something else in here besides us.
All right. So I've got my forearm blade extended. I've got my shield. I feel kitted up and on high alert.
Okay. And what are the rest of you? How are the rest of you handling this information?
I'm grabbing my hammer, my two-handed maul, and I'm leading the charge. I'm like, I'll take point. Let's go.
I am totally okay with that.
And Wyloch?
I kind of have a moment where, so like 2 months ago when I had my incident, when I found the gemstone that's lodged in my forehead right now, the thing that I touched and it let me see like the layer beneath reality as to why physics works. And I'm seeing stars being born and like that montage at the end of 2001, right? So from my incident, I'm seeing some of these sunflowers and I'm like tweaking because it's reminding me of some of the things that I saw, and I just freak out and pull out my dagger and start slashing a couple of the sunflowers that are around. So I'm sort of doing my part to clear the way.
You're clearing a way, for sure.
Clearing a way. And at the same time, just wondering if in that moment where I slash it, I can see in the vine, if there's any sort of connection or something that I might inadvertently learn about this place.
Okay.
Or if it's just a plan.
When he slashes the sunflower, like, does it look like any other stem? Does it have any kind of, juice or, anything that comes out of it?
Yeah. So as soon as he like slashes at this massive flower, even the stem here is about 3 inches around as you kind of cleave through it, and it falls, and as normal gravity works, and it sort of crumples there, and you do see that the stem stays upright, and there is some kind of fluid leaking from the internal workings of this plant. It seems to behave like a normal plant you would expect to behave.
All right, so I sort of take a moment. I go, sorry, I have a thing with sunflowers, and then I fall in behind everyone else.
Okay.
Does the sunflower look anything like the tattoo that was on that guy?
It does not. It looks entirely different. This appears to be just a naturally occurring large sun-like flower. There's the views, guys. Tell your friends, dog on screen. So you guys begin to press through this forest. How are you navigating through the weeping willow-like tendrils in here? Are you just kind of pushing them out of the way? Are you cleaving through them all? What's your?
Well, if I'm leading point, I don't have like a sharp instrument other than a spear, so I'm probably just kind of pushing them away as best I can and wiggling my way through them.
Okay. Arri, you begin to push your way through this forest, kind of, moving some of the branches aside, maybe tying a little bit off so you can kind of get your friends through here. And as you begin pushing your way through this, you almost push through like a curtain, and you find yourself in a strange opening. It almost looks like a field outside of Omar, and you feel yourself watching as what looks like Arri steps forward and walks closer to Omar in the distance. And like a disembodied camera, you just begin to sort of follow this Arri-like person. And you see him split into two. Not like disgustingly, but there are now two Arris walking forward. One walks out towards Omar, and you notice distinctly that there is two normal human arms. And he walks back in, and you sort of follow him down into Omar, and he picks up his pickaxe, and he begins mining, and he seems to be living a normal life. You then sort of simultaneously follow the second Arri, who has a metal arm, and you see him enter Omar, and there is an eruption of cheers, and everyone seems to be celebrating this metal-armed Arri. And then in the distance, you see a creature that looks like this. Boop. A creature that looks like this. Just sort of standing there, not making any noise. It seems to be in a similar state, observing both you and the two Arris.
So it's definitely, it sees me.
Mm-hmm. No one else seemed to see you, and there's no other reaction from anyone else knowing that you're there, not even the two Arris.
Is it weirded out that I can see it?
It doesn't seem to have any reaction to you at all.
I look at it and say, hello?
It says, "This is a day."
This is a day. Yes.
Which day?
The day I return or the day I leave?
Yes. And it seems to be speaking as cryptically as Arri can imagine it to be. I'm not sure if Arri is confused by this or how he takes this, but it seems to be speaking in a cryptic manner. Its answers don't really seem to line up with what you're exactly saying to it.
I turn behind me and look for my friends. Do I see them?
You don't. In fact, you don't even see a curtain of brush behind you. You see the rest of the field that would lead away from Omar.
And I'm in Omar.
It appears to be. Although no one responds to you.
If I try to interact with the other two Arris, do they recognize me or
something? They don't even notice you. They look right through you and move through you. It's as if you're not actually there.
I reach out and touch one to see what happens.
One of the Arris?
Yeah.
Your hand, it doesn't pass through easily like water. There is resistance, but your hand with some force immediately just pushes through this thing.
Okay.
And it continues on with its labor. The mining one mines, and as you push out, you feel yourself in one location. Obviously, you're standing right here, but you reach out and touch the mining one, and you reach out and simultaneously touch the one who everyone's cheering for, and the same kind of thing. There's that slight force, but your hand passes right through.
I turn back to our watcher friend, and I say, "Where am I?"
It looks to you, and it says, "The galaxies will collide soon. We must prepare."
How? Prepare for what?
Choose.
Choose a Arri?
It remains silent.
Boy. I think Arri always wanted to get his to not have this metal arm for a long time, but knowing that it can help people and knowing that he wants to help people, I think even taking the ridicule and stuff, he's gonna try to walk over to the Arri with the metal arm and make a choice? Question mark.
Okay. So what do you do to make your choice actually?
I'm gonna look back at the guy or the watcher and see if I get anything from him, which I probably don't.
Nope.
And then I turn and I'm gonna try and like step into the other Arri.
And as you step forward, your hand passes and you grab a handful of vines, and you are back in the forest, making your way through, as if nothing, as if this event never even happened.
I vomit.
Perfect.
Someone's vomiting in this campaign already.
So you lean forward and you just retch forward, and you find yourself standing back in the forest, surrounded by these strange vined trees. Do you look around?
I get up and I'm like, there was a vision that there was me, and then there was another me, and I was watching me, but then the one me didn't have the arm, but the other one, he was like, and I'm just not making any sense trying to like relay this weird thing that happened.
Like,
I talk like a crazy man.
Rubbing his back like a baby, just patting it, like it's gonna be okay.
Did we see or notice
treatment?
Did we see or notice anything, or did he step through a thing and then vomit?
So what he sees when he turns around, as he begins to vomit and then babble things towards you, he turns and sees that the remaining three of you are completely wrapped up in vines. As he looks and sees you all with a blank slate stare, most likely experiencing something similar to what he did. So Arri, you see all of your friends sort of in mid-motion, frozen, covered in vines, stepping forward, and they just kind of look at you vacantly like that creature in your vision or whatever that was. What do you do?
I walk over to Silica because I think she's the boss, and I start ripping her vines, try to rip her out of these vines as best I can.
Perfect. As you begin to start grabbing vines, you see that more of them begin to root up from the ground and almost add more as you tear some away. And we'll jump over to Silica. Silica, you are in a similar situation. You are on the threshold of your family's well-to-do estate. You are seeing yourself as you feel yourself kind of walk a step forward, and you are left behind. And again, as this faux Silica begins to walk up the carpeted entryway here, it splits off, and you see one Silica begin to head towards this manor house, right? This large estate in which you grew up, which you learned all of the silver-tongued things that you needed to know. And you see this Silica begin to walk into where you know your father holds all of his meetings for the various holdings in his land. And you walk towards the table where you know all of the ambassadors sit around and where he has these discussions. You see the same woman from the City of Bridges, King Laird's ambassador, and you take the seat at the head of the table. You are now in control of all of your father's holdings. And simultaneously, you feel this other Silica, and this Silica begins to step forward and off of the path of the estate. And as this Silica gets further and further away, you see the luxurious nature of Silica fade away. You see that the hair is now cropped and shortened. You see that there is no more fancy attire. You see that there is chipped leather and more sturdy equipment. You see that there is a well-worn bag. There's well-worn items on her. You can see that the sun has blistered part of her face, and you can see that she has spent most of her time outside. And you see that she begins to head towards a simple, mundane village where she meets a man in a red robe, and you recognize this as an Aeon priest, the pseudo-religion of the Steadfast. And he shakes your hand. There's no cheers, there's no applause. He simply shakes your hands, and he looks happy that you're here, and he reaches into a side satchel and hands you a strange Numeneran device. And as you kind of look around, you also see this strange observer watching you. What do you do?
This idea of experiencing two realities at once. And there's the Silica who has ambition and who has dreams and wants to pursue those, and seeing the one reality where it's like, I have taken my father's place, my rightful place, being able to take over his estate and holdings. That is a very strong driving force in Silica. But then the other side, the humble, sort of adventuring, sort of salt of the earth, having just one person be that happy that I am there, probably fills some sort of void in Silica as well. And then there's this creepy, whatever that is, watching. Why am I seeing this?
Is that what you say out loud?
That's what I say out loud. Not to the creature, almost just to myself.
After a beat, you hear it sort of ruffle as its long cloak sort of hits the ground, and it rotates towards you, and it says, "When you were 11 years old, playing with the ball, why did you bounce it 3 times on the wall and 4 times on the floor?"
I have no recollection of this.
Do you say that out loud as well?
Yes.
It again, like, sort of, you can feel it looking at you, right, despite the fact that it seems to have no kind of face. And it looks to you and says, "The moon is full, and the roses will bloom in 437 hours.
Don't mind me taking a note.
And again, you get the feeling that this is cryptic something. Whether it has meaning or not to you, you're not entirely sure.
What do I do to get out of here? Like, I realize this is not real.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's the logical thing to ask next. How do I leave?
So that it responds, "The galaxies will collide soon. We must prepare."
Okay. I feel like I have a little bit of advantage since Arri went through this first. I take a seat at the head of the table where the other Silica is.
Okay. And as you sit down into the other Silica, your eyes open and you see Arri is tearing at vines in front of you as your ass hits the ground and you are now in a seated position. And Arri, you see her slump down, eyes kind of open back to normal, and you realize that she is back to normal, or at least what passed for normal before.
I get out of the way thinking she's going to vomit.
I do not.
Okay.
Dainty ladies don't vomit, okay? Let's.
I'm classy, okay?
Yeah, exactly. So now you are seated on the floor. Arri sort of jumps back, vine still in hand, as you feel the vines receding from around you. What are you doing down there?
Breathing deeply, because I imagine that was weirdly physically exerting.
Yeah, you feel tired, for sure.
But I probably look around, and I'm assuming the other guys are still in some sort of state.
As you look around, you see them also as if they were in full motion, and you're just frozen, and you see that the vines are all down them, and you see that some of the vines on the ground have kind of spindled up around their legs.
So it kind of clicks with me. That's what just happened to me.
Arri, has that clicked with you at all?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Okay.
He thinks he tore her out.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what, yeah.
So do you jump to the next person?
I do. I go to Zariff and I start pulling vines off him.
Perfect. Zariff, you are my next victim. You find yourself in at the entrance to a cave. And again, a Zariff steps forward and begins to descend into the cave. You have, as you slowly begin to descend to this cave, you see it doesn't quite split off like everyone else's did, right? You see one Zariff kind of move down, and in one of these realities, several other people join Zariff. And the more public Zariff has a smile on his face, and you can see him talking and laughing and joking with his friends as they all descend deeper, and there begins an excavation, and there begins an exploratory, and they're mapping, and they're coming back, and they're telling stories. And this Zariff seems to be enthralled with the joy of discovery, and he seems to be having less of a social issue, and his friends kind of come over. And as you kind of look closer, you recognize the faces of all of the men and women that are coming in and out of this Zariff's life, and you know them all to be dead. Whether they died to the elements, whether they died in exploration, they all are currently dead. And then in your alternate reality, you see a lonely Zariff descending in, going straight to a task and retrieving an item and coming back out. You see him wander alone to a small village, and much like Silica, you see him approach a man in red that you know to be an Aeon priest, and you emotionlessly hand over a device, and he hands you over a bag of shins, the currency of Numenera, and you turn on your heel and begin to walk out towards your next town, and you again see one of these creatures standing there, observing you and observing the two different Zariffs.
Where is this place?
Balance is the driver of potential.
What are you?
The end of happiness calls the totality to taint and begin understanding with reflection.
Say that again?
You are in the midst of a 0 point, consuming that which will discharge the life itself.
Something's going to get rid of life?
With incredible hands, you craft your own moment of birth.
I'm going to do this?
Only a pilgrim of joy may empower this engaging of growth.
Pilgrim of joy. I know about growth, but I am no longer a pilgrim of joy.
When the soul is decaying its ancient future self efficiently, the mind is tainted of past or future joys.
So I look around, and am I still like at that crux point, or do I still see like the two Zariffs, one walking in the distance, one at like a campfire?
You simultaneously experience both. So at any given time, you can interact with either one of them or interact with both of them. You never lose awareness of either one of them.
So I take a moment, and I get a face-to-face look at each of these former companions of mine. Mm-hmm. These friends that each have some kind of like true like heartfelt emotion and memory in me, and like part of me knows like I need to move on with whatever this challenge is, like, and truly that's the way Zariff is seeing it. Having done crazy things like this before, he's done all kinds of weird puzzles and mind games in his previous adventures, but like there's something here that he can't get anywhere else. They're dead. I'm never going to see their smiling faces again. So he lets that sink in, and then realizes like he can't live in this moment. This is fiction. So then I turn to the creature, and this is not real. How do I get back to my mission?
The galaxies will collide soon. We must prepare.
Prepare what?
Choose.
What galaxies?
Inspiration consists of papacy. It means a rotting of the ecstatic.
Can you give me any information?
This joy is based on the fact that Aeon priests are, in their sublime state, pure coherence.
So he goes through like, you know, several more iterations of like the same questions, getting, you know, more and more crazy, ridiculous answers. And before, you know, it gets to a point where like this thing gets to a loop, and he looks back and forth between the two Zariffs. And, you know, with an exasperated sigh, he points towards the one walking away, you know, lonely and alone.
And you just point to it?
I point. That's my choice.
So as you say that, you look back towards this creature, and it slowly begins to fade into nothingness, and you feel yourself tangled in vines as your hand is pointed forward, and Arri is grabbing at vines, pulling you out as you kind of fall forward, arm pointed out, kind of hitting him in the shoulder.
So there's you know, when I come to, like, the last remnants of my fallen friends, you know, is there, and a single tear, you know, goes down my cheek. It's up to you guys whether you see it.
So I think, Arri, you see him fall forward, and you actually feel moistness on whatever makes for your shirt or your arm, as he kind of collapses towards you. And this is you feel all the weight kind of just exhale from his body as you're kind of holding him up once you tear the vines free. Silica, you are also there. You see this kind of collapse as you are seated on the ground, regaining whatever you can from the moment you just had. Did any of you guys say anything when he sort of comes to?
I probably push him back off of me a little bit and say, "Pull it together, man." And then I walk over to Wyloch and start ripping off.
And I stop him.
From pulling the stuff off Wyloch?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I've made the connection that we've kind of all experienced something. And I don't know that Arri... Well, I guess I probably figured out that he was probably pulling the vines off me. And then did the same with Zariff. But I want to see if I can figure out, does that matter? Or is Wyloch about to snap out of it himself?
Okay. So you stop him. Arri, she yells for you to stop or something. What do you do?
I stop and I'm like, but we need to save our friend. We have to help our friend.
He doesn't seem to be in any immediate danger. It's not strangling him as far as I can tell.
Correct.
Question mark?
Yep, that's correct.
He's just entangled.
Just seems to be
But
holding
you
him
were
there.
all in the catatonic state, like you were lost. I saved you.
In
But
this conversation,
who saved you?
Well, I'm just very, I've got a strong will or something.
while they're having this conversation, can I look around? Is there anything different about this tree, these vines, than the other stuff that's around us?
Roll me searching. It would be a difficulty 5.
Nope.
So what you notice, there's nothing different as far as you can tell. What you notice is that the vines that sort of extend from the trees wrapping him up, and you can follow that there are vines preventing his feet from moving, all of these interconnect with the trees. Where you are, the biggest thing you notice is that not everything seems to go towards the center. Everything seems to go towards these trees.
So I'm sitting there, down on one knee, kind of huffing with exertion to have gone through whatever that thing was, and I'm looking around while they're back and forth. And go ahead.
So you stop Arri from tearing the vines off, and you just watch Wyloch?
Yeah.
Okay. Arri, do you stand down?
I need a good reason.
Okay.
Because I'm real nervous about my friend. So I'm like, I understand that you've been kind of this boss right now, and I want to go on your hunches, but like my hunch is that I have to save Wyloch right now.
So I tell him my hypothesis about did you see yourself is basically what I ask him.
Yeah.
And
I go through and I say, well, yeah, I saw this, and I give the whole spiel.
Right, and Zariff, I think, saw the same thing. He saw himself, and I saw myself.
Had to make a choice.
Yeah, and so we're probably having this discourse that's at least slowing him down from helping Wyloch.
Sure.
Yes.
So as you distract Arri with stories of what happened inside your mental prison, Wyloch, you are also in a mental prison of your own. You see that you are on the edge of a city. The city itself doesn't spring to mind what name it is or where exactly it is, but again, you feel this absentness as another form of Wyloch steps forward. It begins to walk. And as you sort of follow this one down its path, it begins to split. One of them heads towards the largest building that you can see in this city. And begins to walk up the path, past guards. Everyone seems to know who this Wyloch is. Nods, he gets nods back. Doors are held for this Wyloch. There's no twitch, there's no spasm, there's no, eye tweak. He sort of just walks in, and everyone seems to know who this Wyloch is, and he is very confident. And he walks through what you can surmise to be some kind of maybe a palace or at least a large estate. And this Wyloch heads down a set of stairs, and it seems as though there are several people dressed in similar robes to this Wyloch. And he walks in, and everyone turns and greets him, and you are in a massive laboratory. There are planetary alignments, there are star charts, there are geographical symbols and parabolas and things that no one should know. And it seems as though you are running a research team for who you're not sure, but somebody must have enough money to fund whatever this is. And as you're experiencing this, you're also experiencing the second Wyloch, who walks down a dirt road towards a less grandiose part of town. And you see him place his hand on the door of a small hut, and he opens the door. And it's at this time you see that there is no blue crystal embedded in this Wyloch's head. And he walks into this very simple and plain house, and he is greeted by by your standards, a beautiful young woman, and two small children run out and sort of grab at your robe, and you sort of pat the young boy on the head, and you sort of scoop up the little girl. You can't really hear what's being said, but you carry her over and place her down in the chair at the dinner table as a plate is served in front of you, as you see the young boy excitedly begin to tell you something, most likely about his day, and the woman reaches down and kisses you on your forehead exactly where that blue gem would be. And as you sort of turn between these two lives, you see that same creature watching you.
No, my character descriptor is actually exists partially out of phase, so I feel right at home. I actually feel great, and I'm wondering if I can use that. I want to stride up to this monolith creature thing that's appeared, and try and use that to try and surmise just one fact about this whole thing. For example, is this a hallucination, or is it an example of what was, or will what I do here actually impact anything? Not what it will have, just is this real or not?
Roll me a Numenera.
Okay.
This would be This would be a difficulty rating 6.
Okay. And I will use effort.
Okay.
Do I get an asset for my partially out of phase? Is that relevant?
I will say yes. I'll say you get an effort for this because of the weird situation that you're in.
Okay.
You succeed. So, in this moment, in this in-between worlds, you have a moment of clarity. And you feel the knowledge that whatever happened to you sort of electrifies through your body, and there's a moment, the barest glimmer of a moment of clarity, and you know what you're standing in front of. You know that this creature is called a Philithus, and that no one knows what they do, but they often are rumored to or storied to, or the people that survive encounters with them believe that they appear in moments of fate.
Okay.
So whether this is real or not, or a potential reality or not, you're not sure. But it seems as whatever this is a moment of fate, and this thing is here to watch it.
Okay. All right. So I look back. I look to each one, not knowing if they're in which order they may have appeared in, and I ask, "Was this real?"
They must englow ourselves and seek others.
All right. Having gleaned all I can from the situation, trying not to meta. So, let's see. In the laboratory, is there anything? You mentioned a lot of decor, a lot of stuff you might expect to see in like a epic laboratory. Is there anything there that I might be able to observe and know what kind of projects we were working on?
So, as you kind of exist in between everything here, you see everything and you recognize it for what it is, but you have no understanding. You have the knowledge that you would understand this, given this being a reality. This is the Wyloch in moments of clarity, but always.
Okay. I turn to the Philithus and I say, Yggdrasil's heart beats eternal.
God damn it. It looks to you and says, bodies discover themselves if you are ecstatic enough.
The second harmonic will render plasticrete irrelevant.
Inseparability is the antithesis of flow.
A whole fucking list of these? Right. So,
I mean, we can do this all day. I'm fine with this. Chat might not be, but...
all right, so I'm unable to try and speak its language, if you will, to try and build a bridge.
I mean, at least as far as you know. You might be saying things to it.
Who knows what I said, yeah. Okay, so, all right, I kind of look to the sky. I look around, and I say, what from here?
And it looks to you and says, the galaxies will collide soon. We must prepare.
All right. And then I sort of get the impulse of what I'm supposed to do. So I walk over to the one that's in the laboratory, and he's working on something with his team on the workbench or whatever. And I reach for the same thing that he is to try and grab it at the same time and see what happens.
And as you reach forward, you kind of pass into this Wyloch, and much like everyone else around you is now outside in the forest, you sort of fall forward as Silica and Arri, you're looking at him, and you see all of the vines loosen, and he sort of crumples, and he lands down on his knees, hand outstretched.
We're probably
as if
still
reaching for
arguing,
something. Yeah.
and it's just like he's in the background and like drops.
Yeah. So you kind of hear the shoo, and his hand is outstretched as if reaching for something before it catches himself on the ground from falling forward. And without any of your help, Arri, sorry to ruin your day, Wyloch has freed himself of the binds of these trees.
Looks like Silica was right.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
So I'm huffing and breathing, and I get out the word Philithus.
And you all hear this.
Okay. What is that?
Yep. So just take a breath, and then I look up, and I kind of explain what I saw.
Question: as he falls, since this time Arri wasn't helping to free him, do we notice any weird behavior in the vines?
Nope. You actually, weird behavior, yes. They move. You see them uncoil. You see them loosen. He doesn't, wriggle free. The vines just seem to release him.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're judging weird by actual vines and how they work, that's weird. Vines don't usually choose to release people. Yeah, so you see them loosen, and you see the ones that are coiled around his feet, uncoil and free him to fall forward.
Philithus is that the name of this creature? Are you familiar with this thing?
That's what I saw. What happened?
we all saw some kind of creature and had to make some kind of choice.
What did it look like?
So he's gone. He's like, do you not remember? You said Philithus.
Yeah, I know what I saw. I'm asking what you saw.
Oh, okay. So I fill him in on my little vision quest.
So we're able to put two and two together. So it comes to light that we all saw the same thing, and I explain what it is. And what we saw was not a hallucination. It's something of consequence.
It said something about something galaxies something. Facts are not my strong suit.
Galaxies
something about galaxies collapsing. I don't know.
Galaxies will collide soon.
Right.
We must prepare.
I don't know. I was watching a processional.
I thought he said something about underwear, but never mind. Yeah, we must prepare. That's right.
Makes more sense.
The galaxies will collide soon. Please wear underwear. Yeah, so you guys are sort of in the middle of this forest, having gone through whatever the hell that was. Your stories seem to link up at some point.
So, like, number one, it's not a problem for us to remember that phrase amongst all of the jumble.
You remember everything. I mean, Silica might remember less, but if you want to roll to see what you remember, you probably could remember anything. Once you kind of compare stories, you all have that same knowledge that it spoke a bunch of nonsense, and if you start recalling what it said, it doesn't make sense to any of you. What either of your things said to you, it doesn't seem to make sense, except for the fact that all of them aligned with a choice, and the galaxies will collide soon. We must prepare.
All right, so I wonder if the galaxies colliding has something to do with that storm out there.
It may be. They may have something to do with each other, but for right now, I don't want to stay anywhere near these creepy vines. I want to keep moving before we start delving into the mysteries of the universe.
All right, so I'm gonna start this conversation as we head off. I don't understand what the issue is. Like the tree didn't hurt us. I mean, and I look up, trying to get through some of the canopy. Does it look like we lost any time?
No, it doesn't seem like we lost any time. In fact, from the time it took Arri to wake up and start taking vines away from Silica, was probably the same amount of time it took Arri to walk over and take the time away from the vines away from Zariff. It was a matter of seconds for him to do that. And your conversation about the idea to whether free Wyloch or not was probably only 30, 45 seconds of argument before he just fell out of the tree. So you might have lost maybe 5 minutes if you're guessing.
I mean, we didn't really lose time, and like my sentence trails off. I didn't go into any kind of detail as to what was in my vision, other than I had the same thing. I had, two different Zariffs that I had to choose between, and what have you. So I trail off in memory for a moment, and then I pull myself back. So we didn't lose anything. We gained, some insight, and maybe this matter of fate and a name of Philithus. I think the phrase, the galaxies will collide. We must prepare. This is some kind of clue. It might need more information. It might need something that we have to put together to make work. But I think this is our first step.
Wyloch, are we in danger from these creatures?
Are we?
As far as you know, no. As far as your recollection, though fleeting, is as long as you don't put yourself in danger with these things, they're no danger to you.
They're more harbingers of fate. They can't hurt us.
I still want nothing to do with these philanthropy monsters, or philanthropy, Philithus, whatever this creature is called. I don't want to have anything to do with it, and I want to just get to the bottom of what we were sent here to do.
Nor should you, but we don't have a choice in it. It has whatever it wants to do with us.
Are you afraid of fate?
I don't fear fate.
I heard it was
But
an
when
okay
given a
game.
directive, I will fulfill my directive.
I think there's more than directive out here.
Yeah, but you may want to have some sort of spiritual vision quest, inner learning moment, and I do not. I want to just get this job done.
I think we have to count on the possibility that galaxies colliding is more than a metaphor as I'm looking at the sky.
Is there something happening in the sky?
No, there's not.
Okay.
But in Wyloch's head, there could be. I don't know. I don't know what goes on in that crazy mind.
Moment.
Yeah, I don't know what goes on in that crazy guy's mind.
So in reference to Silica's last last thing about not wanting to have a spiritual journey and just get the job done, I'll be like, and I thought I was the emotionless one, and I'll just kind of push past
brusquely. Cool. So yeah, you guys proceed through the forest in what appears to be states of disarray, as Zariff seems to be done with the discussion. Silica seems to be done with the entire event here, and lockstep in solving a problem. Wyloch is deep in philosophical thought, and Arri is just in the middle of all of it.
Dead or fighting.
Yeah. You guys proceed down, and you see that you have made it to a different level of the forest. The large spindlewoods is what they're called. The large, vine protrusion trees that sort of cascade down like weeping willows. They are no longer here, and you see that you are in a forest of previously unseen trees. They are nothing like what we have here. They're not like coniferous or the normal kind of trees you would see in a rainforest. These appear to be completely random with rainbows of leaves kind of coming out of them of various colors. Some just have flowers forming the crown of the tree itself. They are different sizes and shapes, rings, bends, as you are in this strange jungle proceeding forward. And as you guys are doing so, if anyone's looking around, roll me a search or an intelligence. It would be a difficulty 4. Silica, you are too much avoiding whatever you just saw. And I think, Zariff, you are too disgusted with her response in her lack of a desire for knowledge. However, the rest of you are easily able to see what's happening here. And you see that there are not quite webbing around you, but you see that there are these threads that both descend from the trees, almost like a noose waiting to catch you. And a few times, especially Wyloch, you've had to actually stop someone from stepping on what looked like this strange cable of a tripwire. There seemed to be just a bevy of traps. Most of them look fairly obvious, like it's not hard to spot them. But just a strange amount of just arbitrary traps hanging around here. Yeah, that's what you guys
They
see.
look inorganic?
They do look inorganic.
Okay.
They don't look like a metal or a fiber that you immediately recognize. If you want to get down there and take a look at them and try to figure it out, you can easily do that.
Yeah, I'll bend down and take a look, watching out for spider-like creatures.
Sure. Sure. As you bend down to take a look at this fiber here, you notice that it is sticky to the touch, and it reinforces your fear that there are some kind of spider around. But as you kind of tug on this, its tensile strength is amazing. This is at least as strong as the rope using to hold the boat in the location that it was attached to the Albatross. Whatever this is made out of, this could make some great ropes, some rappelling gear. This could make any number of things if you are able to actually harvest it. As he bends down to examine this, what are the rest of you guys doing?
Does he point this factor out?
No, I've kind of drawn in, and I know it's sticky, so now I've withdrawn my dagger, thinking I might try and harvest some of it.
So you can see all this as he's doing this.
Very zoned in.
Well,
Like
So I'm totally willing to see what he's doing. Being a explorer of dark places, I'm known to deal with traps and what have you. So if that might be what he's looking at, then I would certainly want to experiment. And then if I find out that, hey, this is really good stuff, then I would also want to see if I could ascertain some.
Sure. If you want to roll searching to see if this is some kind of a trap mechanism or if there's something you want to spring load as he cuts this vine, you can absolutely do so. It would also be, I believe I said, difficulty 4.
So if it's possibly trapped and the fact that I explored dark places, would that give me any kind of asset?
Sure. So searching and 1 asset for your backstory. In the meantime, what are Arri and Silica doing?
I think I'm listening, just trying to get a gauge. He's bent down, but so is Zariff, and they're examining that. I just kind of want to get a sense. Do I hear anything? Is there anything weird?
Sure. Roll me, unless you have some kind of listening proficiency, roll me an intelligence check, difficulty 4. As you bend down, Zariff, to examine this appears to be a very rudimentary, hey, look at this is a clearly obvious trap. So what immediately piques your head is that the fact that this is the obvious trap, that's the trap. The fact that you noticed this and stopped to examine it, you are now trapped by something. Like something else is about to spring out towards you. This was the bait. And as luck would have it, Arri, you hear the thing that is about to spring out. As you sort of are listening, and you can hear some movement in the underbrush, and then you hear movement in the trees above you, and you snap and look, and there is this massive yellow spider-like creature descending down towards you, and at its front, its 2 forelegs actually end in hands as it is pulling itself down the actual webbing that is coming out of it. Its 6 other legs sort of clicking and clacking as it slowly descends towards the rest of you. And as you hear this, you hear the brush move, and you can kind of see, and like raptors, 2 more of them are coming out towards you from the sides as they sort of lift out of the underbrush. And you see that the 2 on the side of you begin to spool out their webbing and are whipping it like lassos, and they are about to throw it at your 2 allies that are currently bent down looking at this. Guys, this is our first combat. Look at this. Whee! Everyone click on your token and go ahead and roll me some initiative.
And I have an initiative bonus. Or it says... Yeah, I have an initiative.
You're trained in initiative?
Yes.
Does it say T, U,
no.
or...
It says U.
Okay, so you're just untrained in it. So you just click that. Click on your token,
Okay.
click on that, and it should, in theory, put you on this little roll tracker
We're
thing.
supposed to click on our tokens?
Yeah, you should see tokens on the screen.
I can't click on it.
Son of a gun. Yeah. Okay, so because I dragged them out, so I will delete those. What you do is go to the journal tab, click and hold your character, and just drag it out onto the screen. And then you should have a little thing pop up. There you go. There we go. We got all kinds of people in here.
So how do we get that back?
So go to the journal page on the screen and click and hold on your character and just drag it out and release it on the actual picture here.
Then we just roll initiative.
Then just click on your token and roll initiative.
Effort to roll. Okay.
You can spend effort if you'd like to go faster, but you don't have to.
So I have a red, a green, and a blue circle above my character
You're supposed
icon.
to. It's part of the thing. It's
Yeah,
in case you
that
want to put
means
like
you have it
health
selected.
or... Yeah, you can put like
So
your
it's-
health totals or your might pool or your speed
Okay.
pool or whatever if you want to in there. You don't have to. I'm not going to make you do it.
So I just need to click the dice next to my initiative under my speed skill.
Yep, once you click on the character icon, then you click on the initiative button. Perfect.
Alright, I am doing something wrong because I can't get.
That's all right.
this-
Let me see if I can help you out here. Let's go Zariff, boop, and then let me see if I can give you control of this. Player. Let's give you Zariff. All right, see if you can click on that now. You should see your player icon on the screen.
Yep.
Can you click on it?
Yep.
Can you move it?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, so click on that and then roll your initiative. And I need one for Wyloch as well.
So So which one's the initiative bubble?
Should be at the top under speed. It should say initiative, I believe.
On my character sheet?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a little confusing for me
Sorry,
as well.
my bad.
Okay, there it is.
A little bit of a learning curve.
So which one am I entering the initiative in?
Just click on your token, and then in your character sheet, hit the initiative button.
Okay. Because I already rolled it.
All right, I'll add you. Hold on. You rolled a 2, right?
I did.
Wyloch.
Nice and low.
Yep, that's good. That's okay. Wyloch, you rolled a 2. And...
That exciting initiative. I bet chat's going crazy.
I know, right? This is the most exciting thing we've done. Guys, get on this level. And Zariff rolled a 2. Perfect.
I apologize. No, roll 20 is new to me.
That's all right. I figured why not learn a whole new system and a whole new set of rules and all that kind of fun stuff. So, Silica, you, who were not quite looking around and more focused on getting to the point, are the first one to notice these creatures as they begin to descend and move all around you guys. What do you do?
They have hands.
They do have hands.
Okay, they have hands, and they set these traps.
I mean, your best guess would be that they set the traps.
So there's some sort of like setup for maybe they have some sort of intellect or so I think I want to try talking to them or just to see if there isn't any way we could avoid this altercation. But my forearm blade and shield have been out this whole time, so I am already kitted up.
Okay.
So I that's probably not going to bode well for me, but I do pretty well talking to people. So I'm just going to say, hail and well met, spider friends.
I wasn't ready for that response. As
unfazed as I can possibly muster.
Okay. Jesus Christ. As completely unfazed. Okay. Oh, man. Roll me a being nice to people. It is a difficulty rating 6.
Okay, 6. So I can use my positive and pleasant social interactions for this?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that. Difficulty rating 6. Yeah.
So you step forward with all the confidence instilled in you, and you say, "Hail and well met, spider friends." And you see that the one to your left chitters back at you with no human vocal cords, and you see its eyes like rotate and look up towards the one still descending towards Arri, and that one chitters back in some kind of response. As you see the one descending sort of grab the rope or the webbing and split it. And drops right behind Arri. They don't seem to be hailing you back, it appears. Okay. So you attempt to discuss with these things. They don't seem to be having any bit of it. And I think, if anything, you might have made them mad. So the two with the lassos sort of throw the lassos. The one you spoke to throws it right towards you. And I need you to make me a speed defense of 6.
Speed defense. I have a shield that I believe helps me with that.
Yep,
so
it gives you 1 asset.
So I should I roll with the shield roll, or should I do the speed roll and add 1 asset?
Do the speed roll and add 1 asset.
Can I also add an asset for my balancing gymnast-like qualities?
Sure, if you explain to me how that would help you.
I basically want to do a backflip out of the way.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's 2. So speed roll, difficulty rating.
So what you can do is just click on the balancing one, and it would be difficulty 6, and add 1 asset. In the meantime, Zariff, you can roll the other one. It is a difficulty rating 6 to avoid this lasso that is coming towards you.
So a speed defense?
Yep, speed defense. And Arri, you can roll me a difficulty 6 speed defense as the one that lands behind you. As you watch this one descend and then plop land down behind you, you see it rear up on the back 4 of its legs, and it begins to lurch towards you with its human-like appendages and sort of try to grab onto you. So
now, since I, before they were springing the ambush, I was aware that, hey, this trap is the trap.
Yep.
Can I get an asset on that?
Sure. Make that a difficulty 5 instead of a difficulty 6. Because you were expecting something just as it happened. So, Silica, you draw the shield, you have the arm blade out there, and you see this thing throw this lasso, and you see it extend towards you as if to grab you, and you have the shield up, and you still tumble out of the way. You see the lasso kind of hit the ground, and it quickly begins to drag this thing back up. And as you kind of roll to the side, you see that the second lasso has been loosed and snatches around Zariff and tightens as it begins to yank him forward as this thing is slowly reeling that in, pulling Zariff towards it. And as you process what's happening, you sort of hear some kind of noise from Arri as the other spider has leapt up and has grabbed onto his shoulders with its human-like appendages and has sunk 4 of its fangs into your shoulder, your man shoulder, not your robot shoulder, sort of into you. And Arri, from your perception, you see this thing biting into you, and you can see its golden, like, hairy yellow body, and down on its abdomen, you see this strange purple symbol on its upper abdomen. That's what you see as it bites into you, and you take 4 points of damage. So the way damage works, as a reminder, is you take 4 points of damage, subtract your armor from that. That's how much comes off of your might pool. So I think you have 3 armor, or you have some
3 armor. Yeah.
So you would take 1 damage off your might pool. You'd reduce your pool by 1. It is what is this? Arri, it is your turn.
I'm gonna push the one that's on me off, and then I'm going to bash it.
Okay, you absolutely can bash this.
Yeah.
It would be a difficulty. So the way monsters work and the way challenges work in Numenera is it is a standard number. So for all tasks, dodging, hitting, all kinds of things, it's going to be a 6. So I don't have to keep saying it's a difficulty 6. From now on, anything with these spiders so far is a difficulty 6. So you take out, what is your weapon?
It's a 2-handed maul. Big hammer.
And then what does it look like as you attempt to smash this spider off of you?
Well, I'm gonna kick it with my foot, and so it flies off of me, and hopefully it's prone, and I'm gonna try and come up and smash it as hard as I can, like a big overarching swing.
I like it. So go ahead and roll. Let's see if it happens.
No.
It does not. So as you bring this down to smash the ground, the thing deftly leaps out of the way. And you see it begin to, it reaches behind it with its human appendage and begins to pull out more of the webbing and begins to spool out around its arm more of this webbing as if it's going to attempt the same procedure it had there. That brings us to Wyloch's turn. Wyloch, you see that your friends are being attacked left and right by these things. What are you doing?
Okay, Zariff got wrapped up in the lasso, right?
He did.
Okay, so I yell out to him, blow your wrist scrunchie. And then I start to weave together energy, and I'm going to try and manifest onslaught.
Okay.
I want it to be a physical attack. Arri already freed himself?
Yes, Arri threw the thing off of him, and it's making a new lasso to get him.
Okay, and then there's one on Zariff, and then there's a third one.
Yes.
Okay, I want to target the third one.
Okay, the third one has attacked Silica. It threw rope at Silica, but she definitely maneuvered out of the way.
Got it. Yeah, so I want to blast it. And refresh me on the rules. So this I can target either its basically its might or its intellect.
Okay.
But I think I want to try the physical.
Okay.
So doing a bolt of energy, shooting forward and hitting it.
Absolutely. So this works like a standard attack. So with abilities, is what you're spending, they all have a ability cost. I believe Onslaught costs 1, but because you have 1 edge in intellect, it costs 0 for you. So you roll it like a normal ability. So it would be a difficulty 6 attack with Onslaught.
6. I will spend effort.
Okay.
Now the effort, as far as my edge.
Yep. The effort is 3 minus whatever your edge is.
But you don't add that into the one that it already cost. That's on its own.
No, so it's a new ability.
1 point plus 3 effort would be 4. So minus 1, I should be spending 3.
Nope, it is yes. So it works like 2 separate things. So your edge neglects or negates the cost for the ability, and now you're spending effort. So that's a separate thing. So you spend 1 from your edge rather, and you spend 2. So reduce your pool by 2, and then continue on from there.
Okay, and then the input value effort. I spent effort, but now it's saying effort to damage.
So you can spend effort to attack, or you can spend effort to add to the damage pool. You can't spend both because you only have 1 effort that you can spend. So you can either do it to increase your chances of hitting, or you can increase your chances of doing more damage. One or the other.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to do this. It's a 6. No effort to roll. No asset. No bonus. Effort to damage. I will try.
Okay. So what does this manifestation of your ability look like?
It's like a small nova starts to form in between my hands, and then once it's matured, I let fly, and it flies forward and sails right over this thing's head.
Okay. Now, how often have you actually used this ability, or is this one of the first times you've done it?
This is one of the first times I've done it.
Okay. So you form this nova knowing how to do this, and you sort of will it towards this creature, but it seems to move a lot slower than you anticipated as the creature kind of jumps out of the way and begins to loose its lasso. Zariff, you are currently being pulled towards this thing. You can accept the pull, run towards it and attack this thing, or you can try to break free of the lasso itself. That's up to you.
We've already examined the tensile strength of this thing, right?
Yes. A knife would... Well, actually, you didn't actually cut it yet. So you're not entirely sure if a bladed weapon would sever it easily, but you know that pulling on it, this was pretty, tense.
All right, so there's the one that's pulling on me. I'm still on the ground. I'm being drawn in.
Yes.
Can I draw and fire my bow at this thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can kind of rotate yourself around, draw your bow, and fire on this thing. Go ahead.
Learning new stuff.
I know, right?
Flipping through that handy cheat sheet you sent us.
Oh yeah, it's real nice. I have it open actually. So you are skidding towards this thing, kind of like sailing towards it on your ass as you sort of draw the bow and fire down at this thing. But because of the terrain and the route that you're getting pulled towards and the uneasy swaying of the rope as it yanks it towards you, your arrow kind of goes wide over this thing as it begins to pull you towards it. On your next turn, you'll be right up against this thing. You can try to fire again, or you can try to stab this thing, or do whatever you'd like.
Okay.
In the meantime, we have the dancing ballerina here, Silica, who has definitely jumped out of the way of the lasso. You see that one of the spiders has pulled Zariff towards it. One of them bit Arri, but he managed to get it off. And you saw something slow move out of Wyloch's hands towards the other spider that attacked you. What do you want to do?
I probably shouldn't risk turning my back on the spider that has its sights set on me. So as much as I would like to help Zariff, it's the thought that counts, right?
Yeah.
Did I see because I caught out of the corner of my eye Arri pushing the spider off?
Yep.
And you said there was some sort of something underneath.
So you can actually see because you're like you've maneuvered yourself away. You have your shield out, and if you're looking at the spider in front of you, you're actually intending to look at it. You see that it's hairy yellow golden fur that's on this thing. On its abdomen, on its upper abdomen, is a purple symbol.
On top.
On top.
On top. Okay. So I want to. I want to hit it. I want to hit it in the symbol.
Okay.
With my forearm blade. I'm gonna need to jump up there or probably propel myself off of a tree parkour style, kind of run at a tree and try to use that as leverage to get myself on top of the spider. I don't know how big these spiders really are in comparison to a full grown human.
The size of a Labrador.
it's the size of okay, so I don't even need to jump off of anything.
No.
I could probably just jump into the air and just sort of superhero ground pound my forearm blade.
Yeah.
That is bejeweled, by the way.
Yeah.
Right into that.
Yeah, they are uncomfortably large for a human, but they are not large enough that you need to climb anything to mount them.
Okay.
Yeah, so are you trying some kind of acrobatic thing to get on top of these guys?
I suppose not really, because all humans, unless otherwise stated, can jump.
That's
right?
true, they can jump. Yeah, I mean, unless you have some kind of detriment that you can't jump. So
right. So I mean, it's kind of like that superhero jump where they like pound into the ground and they look up. You know. Yeah. That's basically what I want to achieve, but I'm not going to try to. I don't need to get any sort of height leverage on this thing. They're not that big.
Cool. What is your arm blade? Just like a blade that you wear, like a cuff?
Yeah, so it's a forearm, so it's as long as my forearm. I really want to make this actually, and then like the blade, it's on top, so the blade like is as long as my forearm, and it shinks out. And
so like an inverse Assassin's Creed situation.
Yeah.
Perfect. So roll that attack and see if you can nail this spider to the ground.
So I'm using might to attack. Okay. And then that takes away from my pool.
Nope.
So not every time I use a might action.
Nope.
Only if you expend effort.
Yep, only if you expend effort, or if you're using an ability like Bash or an ability like Pierce, that takes 1 might. But I believe as a glaive, you have 1 might effort or 1 might edge. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go for it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go.
Now, are you using Pierce or Bash? I think you have one of them.
I do have.
Usually what those do is you activate them at the cost of one pool. But like I said, you have edge in that pool, so it wouldn't actually minus, and what it does usually does more damage. I think Bash has a chance to stun.
It's actually thrust that I have.
Okay.
A melee stab, you make an attack, inflict 1 additional point of damage if your weapon has a sharp edge or point.
Okay.
And it says it's an action, so does that mean I need to spend a point?
So normally, the cost is 1, and because you have 1 edge, that negates it.
Okay.
So you don't actually just spend anything for you.
So, right. Pierce is for ranged, thrust is for melee.
Yes. Pierce is for range, thrust is for melee.
I'm going to expend an effort on this. I want it to succeed.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
but, you know, sometimes that just doesn't.
It was so close. So close. No, it wasn't. It wasn't close at all. So you run over there. Sink, the blade kind of comes out as you jab downward into the rear abdomen of this thing, attempting to hit what looks like a keyhole on the back of this thing, slicing into it. But it leaps to the side and immediately throws a lasso at you. I need you to make another dodge for me with a 6 difficulty.
Can I continue to use my balance?
Sure.
As an asset? All right. And that's a speed roll?
Yeah, so click on balance and then add 1 asset for your shield.
Oh my gosh.
And you sort of dodge out of the way, but knowing that you use the exact same tactic as before, it adjusts and throws, and you sort of dodge into it as you feel zip around your chest and the heave towards it. Unfortunately, it has you in its clutches. Arri, I need you to make that same roll for me as this thing is slowly spooling this out and begins to throw it towards you.
Speed roll?
Mm-hmm. Speed defense.
Okay, I'm putting in 2 levels of effort, so that would be 5 for my pool. I can only do 1?
Yep. Your effort level is equal to your actual level.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Oh, geez. Yes.
You succeed. Okay, cool. So because you can't add 1 damage to this, I'll give you 1. Go ahead.
Oh, can I like grab it and maybe like swing him around?
Yes, absolutely. So you don't actually dodge out of the way. You snatch it out of the air, and it's about to be your turn. But before that, I need Zariff to make me a speed dodge, speed defense 6 as well.
I am going to use effort because I don't want to be in this thing's grasp.
Makes sense. I wouldn't either. They have hands. Yeah. Imagine how much worse that is. Not only is it like a Labrador-sized spider, but also it has hands. It has people hands.
Yeah, that's a great visual image.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So is this thing trying to bite me or draw me in?
Right now, it's drawing you in, and it is still trying to draw you in. Yeah, you're not quite close enough for it to bite you. At the start of your next turn, you will be. So you can. It's basically yanking you towards it. This is your resistance against the yanks. So you feel that pull again as your feet try to scramble to find purchase, and it gives one more heave-ho, and you kind of arrive sprawled prone at its feet. However, Arri, you have the spindly lasso of this thing. In one hand, you have your great club in the other hand, or your great hammer in the other hand. What are you doing?
Can I swing it around and try to bash it into a tree?
Absolutely.
Now, would that be like my bash attack, or would that be just a might roll?
So you can do either one. What a bash will do is add extra damage, I believe, with a chance to stun the creature, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually does less damage with a chance to
stun the creature, yeah. So you can apply your bash to any melee attack. This will count as a melee attack if you so choose.
Let's do that.
Okay. So I will count the spider itself as a medium weapon, which does 4 points of damage. So if you want to swing this into a tree, it will do 4 points of damage minus your 1, and then have a chance, and then stun it. So it would still be a difficulty 6 to spin this spider into a tree. I want this to work. I want this to happen. That's awesome.
I put some effort into it. So.
That sounds dope. Oh no!
Oh!
That's the worst you could do. Oh no!
Why did you do that?
I was so hoping that would work, and now I get to mess with you for free. Oh no. Okay, so
Well, you did say this was going to be the last session.
I know. So what happens is you grab onto this thing and you grip it with both hands, and you begin to yank this thing and do that overhead swing, and you see it like as it gets going, and then as soon as you go to release to let it hit the tree, the tension snaps. And you see it catch itself on the tree and sort of scramble back down. And as you go to reach for your hammer, your hand is stuck.
Oh god!
You are unable to release your hand from the sticky web that the spider was using. Unfortunately, that is your intrusion. God damn, Wyloch.
You said that they have symbols on their bellies, right?
On the top of their abdomen, yeah.
Does it look like the one that got infused onto Giorgio when the sail electrified him?
It doesn't, but if you're looking around, the 3 you can see, because you're kind of in the center, they all have different symbols.
They all have different symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're all failing pretty bad. I'm going to attempt. So this thing is always going to be an 18. It's always a level 6, right?
Unless you spend things to do otherwise.
Right. Okay. I'm going to try and queue up, try and learn from last time, and queue up another onslaught.
Okay.
We haven't hurt any of them yet, right?
Nope.
So I'm going to try and hit the one that currently has Zariff tied up.
Okay.
All right. 6. I will use effort. No asset.
Rigged! It's rigged, I tell you.
I don't know what to do right now. Oh no.
How many weeks are we supposed to go?
Oh no.
Like I said, looks like tonight's the last session.
Jesus.
Do I literally create a Nova by accident?
Zariff, roll me a speed defense at difficulty 3. God damn it.
Galaxies are colliding.
Oh no. Okay, so you successfully, you hear this noise coming towards you, and you instinctively roll out of the way as it just hits the ground in front of you as you see this small nova burst hit and sort of splatter reflect off the metal basin you're sitting in, and some of the shrubbery sort of flies left and right. You see the spider actually shield its eyes for a second. I don't know if I can deke any more nat ones. I don't know what I can do. God damn it. Zariff, it is your turn. Please don't roll a nat one.
All right, so how close am I to this thing?
You're right up on it.
So being point blank range, is that an asset for firing an arrow at this guy?
Sure. At this point, absolutely. Oh God, bated breath.
Nope.
All right, at least it's not a nat one. That's what we can hope for now. 2 in a row. Hot damn.
Yeah, but I'm killing all my pool, expending effort that's not getting me anywhere.
That's fine. So you sort of twing off this thing, and it sort of jerks you at the last second, and the arrow kind of goes awry, not quite hitting this thing. As it is now Silica's turn. Silica, you are in the throes of this lasso being pulled towards it. You can cut yourself free. You can charge towards this thing and attack it anyway, in spite of your bindings, or any other thing you can think about.
I kind of want to do a little bit of both.
Okay.
I'm pretty close to this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my hope is, it's exerting force to get me closer to it. I want to use that force to like home run slide into home base, like underneath this thing.
Sure.
And as I'm pulling my arm up, I cut myself loose and jab it into the underside of this spider.
Okay. So because I like how cool that sounds, if you roll the 6, all of that happens.
Okay.
So it is still a difficulty 6. No added bonus for your flourish. If you successfully hit, all of those things happen.
So do I add an asset for my attack flourish then? Use and roll with might?
So what does your attack flourish do?
So when you add a stylish move, entertaining quips, or a certain something that entertains or impresses, choose any number of creatures within a short range. Who can see you? Each of them gains +1 bonus to their next die roll. So that's actually for my party.
Yeah, so what that does is, as long as you're a badass, everyone else is better at fighting because you're so awesome. That's what that means. So now, because you do this sweet move, everyone on their next turn has a +1 to their next ability. Everyone gets a free asset, essentially.
Just gonna go for it. Just straight up roll. Actually, I'm gonna effort.
By the way, your flourish works either way.
Okay.
That was the closest roll. You are off by literally 1. So what I'll say, because you're off by 1, you sort of take that momentum and you slide down underneath the pitcher's mound and you slice, but it is just you hit under carapace. It's not soft like you would think of a normal insect, but you are able to still slice yourself free as you pop up the other side of this thing, slightly the wiser. However, the rest of you all now have a +1 to your next roll of any kind. Unless it's a nat 1, in which case I'm just going to stop the stream. We're just going to be done there. The spiders do their business. I need a speed defense from Silica. I need one from Zariff as they are pouncing to bite on you. And for Arri, I need a speed defense as it's going to try to grapple you again with its lasso.
Oh my word.
So next time on Saber Dice.
I don't envy you, sir.
So for posterity, at the end of last session, everyone said, "Hey, Mike, why don't you do more GM intrusions so we can get XP?"
There's no need.
This is why I haven't been able to. Oh God! And I was gonna give you one, Ari, just now. I was gonna be like, "No, here's an intrusion," but you just rolled it. Oh, god damn it. So, Ted, Zariff, you see it pouncing towards you, and because you've been kind of on your back this entire time and mostly agile enough to use your bow and your feet to direct you, you can easily dodge back and sort of kick this thing off of you, preventing it from landing and finding purchase and biting you. Oh, god. Silica, on the other hand, you're still recovering from your sweet dodge slide, and you see this thing leap towards you, and it kind of pounces while you're getting back up and pierces into your arm, your upper arm, and you take 4 points of poison damage.
Does the poison damage, is that a special thing? Or is
it will be if you survive. It persists over time, but yeah. So the way it works is if you have armor, which I think you have at least one, it's 4 damage.
Two.
It's okay. So it's 4 damage minus your armor. That's what you reduce from your pool. So you reduce 2 from your might pool. Jordan, you cannot donate to yourself to be alive. That's
Damn it!
not how this works.
That's not how this works.
That's not quite how it works. God. It is, in fact, Wyloch's turn. Oh, I'm sorry, this is Arri's turn. So, Arri, oh man, are you rolling that one? I don't even know what to do right now.
My hands are tied.
I know. You know what? Here's what happens. On a nat 1, you absolutely dodge out of the way of this lasso, having seen what it's done to your allies. Except it is much to your dismay that the lasso was never intended for you, and instead it grips the handle of your weapon and yanks it towards it and grabs it like Thor, but the spider form. It now has your weapon, and your hands are still sort of bound together. And it's your turn. What do you want to do?
Is there a spider that I can like come up behind and put my my hands around its neck and try to like hug it to death?
Sure. There's the one that's on Silica currently, and the one that Zariff just kicked off. And no, Cody, you cannot also pay money to save his life.
Damn it. Yeah, I'll grab the one on Silica. I'll just like run up and just try to like noose it with my hands because they're all stuck together.
Okay.
So,
Damn it.
for not a bash, I guess, just a regular might attack.
Mm-hmm.
6. We're spending effort. And I get an asset?
You do, from Silica being a badass.
That's right. Oh my god.
Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I am going to give... I'm going to put a GM intrusion here because I feel like I need to give you guys some kind of reward. So, Silica, you're getting a GM intrusion. As Arri comes around and he like tries to bear hug this thing and tear it off of you, the fangs are still inside of you. So, you are going to take additional damage. You get 1 XP, and you can decide to give another XP to someone else. So, you take 4 more points of might damage as this thing's fangs are torn from your arm. You get 1 XP, which 1 XP can be used to re-roll a roll, or you can stack it for other uses. 4 XP is what you need to level up one of your abilities. So you get 1, and you get to decide who to give the other one to.
I feel like Wyloch really needs it.
Sure.
So
Wyloch, you have 1 XP. Okay. So Wyloch, you have 1 XP. Silica, you take 4 damage, and you have 1 XP. And Wyloch, it is your turn. Your friends and allies are in desperate need of your help.
All right. So we tried to talk to them earlier, and they seem to communicate with each other, but not with us.
Yes.
Okay. So they're somewhat intelligent, and I'm wondering, attacking is just not working. So if I could use hedge magic to distract them or something.
Okay, so what I can do is, if you want to use hedge magic, you can, there is actually, let me just get this ruling right here. There is a way that you can distract as an ability, and it's in that handy-dandy guide I sent out to everybody. So you can distract as your action. They basically suffer disadvantage, so you have an extra shot the next person has an extra shot at attacking them. So if you want to
I see.
spend your time, you spend your entire turn distracting them. If you want to do it with hedge magic, totally fine. But you just narratively describe your turn, and the next person to interact with that creature has advantage or disadvantage, depending.
Okay, yeah. So I use hedge magic, even though mechanically it doesn't matter. And I create a visual copy. They seem to like Arri's weapon, so I make a copy of it lying on the ground somewhere.
Okay. Next to which one of them? There's one that Arri is bear hugging. There's the one that has Arri's weapon, and then there's the one that is currently trying to kill Zariff.
Trying to kill Zariff. And Silica, you're free at the moment, right?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, the one next to Zariff.
Okay, so there is now a replica of Arri. Arri, what does your weapon look like exactly?
It's just a big two-handed maul, like pretty simple iron head, and then a wooden handle that's like got probably like worn in the center where I like rub it with my hands and stuff.
Okay, cool. So you see this boop, just sort of appear in front of you, Zariff. Fortunately, it is your turn. Now, you can attack this thing or do whatever you want, and you can roll twice and take the higher of them.
All right. So where is this thing in relation to me?
Maybe 5 feet away after you kind of kicked it off of you. You're still bound around the waist by lasso, but it seems to have fallen out of its hand. It looks like it's scrambling to pick it back up, but it is maybe 5 feet away from you.
All right. So I'm not like the lasso that's around me. Mm-hmm. Does it have it?
It doesn't have it currently. It looks like it's scrambling to go try to pick it up.
All right. I want to like step forward on the strand,
mm-hmm.
and as I'm approaching, I'm going to, number one, with my left foot, pull the strand back to see if I can get it out of their reach.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I release my forearm blade to try and go right into the thing's face.
Sure. So, so you kind of kick the rope back, and then you sort of stab it in the face. Go ahead.
All right, so trying to open the right screen here. Sorry. Where are the...
It's all right. The whole chat is sweating right now.
They're sweating?
Yeah.
What?
Everyone's dying.
So are we.
That's true. I think that's why chat is sweating.
And, of course, my window just decided to close everything.
Yeah, well, that happens. Spiders have a fetish for hammers in this world. That's pretty good. Then again, they got hands, so I'm not surprised. So real quick, while Ted is pulling back up stuff, we'll jump right over to Silica, and then as soon as you're back up, Ted, just go ahead and hit that roll. Silica, you are kind of bleeding from your forearm, but fortunately for you, you get a bonus asset here because Arri is holding this spider as it struggles against his chest. So what are you doing?
Right, so he's got this thing in a bear hug, and I am not happy with it either.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want to use my thrust attack, and just thrust this into my forearm blade into whatever seems like the softest part of its little spider body.
Okay, absolutely.
Take my sweet, sweet revenge and finally do some damage.
Are you saying something awesome and quippy?
Yes, you are.
I mean, yes. I would like to say something that is awesome and quippy.
And
but
that
what I would like to say is I really want to make some sort of like Spider-Man reference that doesn't really fit with the world. So instead I'll just be like Silica smash.
God damn it. Okay.
Go with that
does remind me, Ted, you do also have a bonus to that for Silica's badassness, which would have made that a 3. Which would have made that still a miss.
All right, but you said I get to roll twice, right?
Yep. Yeah, so you would have 1 trained, 1 asset, and then 1 bonus for Silica being a badass.
I used that asset on my defense roll.
Oh, right. Silica, you can roll as well. You have 1 asset for Arri holding it.
Okay.
And you say Silica Smash. Perfect.
Silica smash.
Yep. We're all rolling stellar tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, you guys, to be honest, the ship was supposed to crash last week, and you guys rolled off the charts. So I think this is a balance of fortune here. So absolutely, yeah. So you sort of you inject the forearm blade, but it is just far enough back that it doesn't go as far as you want to. Silica, you have the same kind of problem. You sort of go up and you aim for one of the joints in its hinged body, but because of its flailing and Arri's ungainly tied hands trying to hold this thing down, its kicks and its rear legs sort of get in the way and prevent you from really getting deep in there with that thrust, as it were. And at this time, there will be another... Who's tied? Arri is currently bound by himself. Zariff is bound. And I think that's it.
He doesn't have my rope.
Right, but you're still... There's still a rope on you. Yeah. So at this point, I am going to do another GM intrusion, and it's going to be on Zariff.
Okay.
Zariff, you see an arrow come from somewhere in the forest and the back of this spider and sort of pins it forward. And as it's getting up, you see a man dressed in like tribal leathers. It has a forearm band and there's feathers kind of sticking out of it, and it has a full mask on. You see it dart out of the forest, reach down and grab the rope or the webbing that is attached to the spider and yank it towards it, and it begins to head off into the forest as you kind of get tossed a little bit off your feet, and you're sort of running behind it as it's pulling you forward away from the spider, but towards some unknown fate. And you are free to give 1 XP to anyone else that is here.
So I will balance the scales and I'll give it to Arri.
Okay. Now you can take the XP that I just gave you and say, no, Mike, you don't get to give me an intrusion if you'd like to end neutral and not have an experience. But that stops dead in the tracks as this guy yanks and he's now just here. So you can spend the XP immediately, as it were.
Nope. I'll go with it.
Okay, so this guy kind of comes out of nowhere, slices the rope, yanks it, and it starts running towards the forest. And as you collect yourself about you, you realize that he's running towards the center of the forest. You all see this as this kind of happens, as this guy silently comes out, grabs him. I'm sure Zariff makes like a noise as he gets yanked in a direction. However, Arri, I need you to make a defense roll as this one spider begins to squirm in your arms and flail out as it tries to bite you. However, because you have it in front of you, and it's difficult to turn around, I'll give you 1 asset for that as well.
Okay. Dang.
Okay, so perfect timing. Wyloch, welcome back. I need you to make a defense roll as the spider. You're right; they do like hammers, and it saw you make one and begins to run towards you with Arri's hammer to attempt to smash you.
Super. Okay, so a speed roll.
Yep.
Speed defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I have because I exist partially out of phase, I get +1 to all speed defense tasks.
Perfect. So you have +1 to that.
So that's a bonus on the roll. It's not changing the difficulty.
Yep.
Okay. Speed, difficulty 6, effort. Yeah, I'll do effort. No assets. Bonus is 1.
So I believe you have a heavy weapon, right? Is that correct, Arri? Your weapon is a heavy weapon.
Yes, it is a heavy weapon.
Cool. I know you have at least 1 armor for ward, I believe, Wyloch. So this spider comes up to you, and unlike the rest of them, it sort of chokes up on the hammer and bashes you at the legs, and you take 6 points of damage. So damage minus armor equals how much you lose from your might pool.
So 5?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm down to 2.
Oh.
As it sort of knocks you down, because it sort of knocks you with the leg, and you see it reach back with one hand and begin to grab more webbing out.
Can I use my experience points to stop that?
So you can use your experience to stop a GM intrusion, or you can use 1 experience point to re-roll your ability. You can, however, give your experience to someone else.
Okay.
So you can give it to him to hopefully re-roll that check.
Do you want to re-roll it, Wyloch?
Because that's a lot. I have an XP. Can I spend an XP?
You do have an XP, so you can spend that. Yep.
I my target number is an 18.
It's technically a 14 because you have the exist partially out of phase.
Yeah. Might as well. Sure. Let's give it a shot. All right, so I'll spend mine. I don't need to take yours.
Okay.
All right. 6 effort.
And did I take damage, Mike?
Yes, you did. You take 4 flailing damage as it is squirming around and facing you. Actually, you know what? No, you don't take any damage, but it is now facing you. It has rotated in your arms and will bite you on its next turn. That's how I'll roll that one. Unfortunately, you rolled even worse than before, and it absolutely clocks you in the leg and does 5 points of damage to you as it does so, and begins to pull more strands out of this thing. It is Arri. It is your turn.
Okay, lots is happening.
So you still have this. So you still technically have an asset for this in your body or on your body, and you also have an asset for Silica being a badass.
Okay, great. Then I'm gonna destroy it. I'm gonna hug it to death.
Okay.
2 assets. Yay!
You hug it to death. So because you have big burly metal arms,
I am angry at this point.
God, finally. So as you have big burly metal arms, I will count this as a medium weapon, not quite your heavy weapon as your giant club. But describe to me how you hug this thing. Doesn't quite kill it, but you can feel its carapace crack under the pressure of your arms.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. It's got its weird human hands, like on my hands, trying to like pull it apart, but they can't because of the webbing. And I'm just hugging and hugging and hugging, and you hear the carapace just a nice crack as I've like definitely broken something.
Yeah, and you can see like it's 2 of its legs twitch backwards and sort of curl up underneath it. Perfect. Finally. So Wyloch, you hear a crack followed by another crack, and you're pretty sure your femur was just shattered. But it seems like Ari's doing much better hugging the spider to death. Maybe you can kill it with kindness. It is your turn. What do you want to do?
It's my turn?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was that's how combat works. All right. This thing is basically at point blank range for me now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you have a +1 bonus to hit this thing because Silica was a badass.
Right. Onslaught. Blue Nova. In the face.
Go for it.
All right.
So it's being held by Arri.
This one's not.
Another... Oh, okay.
This one is attacking Wyloch. It hit him with Ari's club.
Okay. Never mind.
There will be effort. There is no asset.
There is an asset.
There is.
There's 1 asset for Silica.
Gotcha. Sorry. Going too fast. And
God damn it. Okay. So you just sort of you're holding yourself up as you just got bludgeoned with a massive instrument, and the pain is sort of shooting through your body as you harness this blue nova. But it's getting hard. You're seeing those stars and that vision of unconsciousness. Kind of you have to shake your head free as you force this energy blast towards this thing, and you're just it sort of skitters off to the right, just missing this thing. However, it is Zariff's turn. Zariff, you are just being whisked away by a swarthy gentleman into the forest. What are you doing?
All right, so is he dragging the spider and myself away?
No,
or
he
just me?
seems to have shot the spider, severed the cable, and is yanking you deeper into the forest.
All right, can I cut the strand?
Yes.
What would be the difficulty on that?
Swing the knife. So you immediately cut down, and it severs it, and you see the guy run forward as you sort of, with the speed you're moving, you sort of stumble forward. You are freed of this bind, and as soon as you kind of hit the ground, the guy feels it kind of go slack and turns to see you. So you are now kneeling towards this guy as he is turning to look at you. And he has a face, I'm not sure if you're good with him, recognizing emotions, but he looks like, why did you just do that? There's a face of shock at your action. What do you do now that you're on the ground looking at this guy?
Okay. Well, how far away from my party am I?
Your guess, maybe 30 feet. He just got you past the wood line.
Does he look like he's coming after me?
He doesn't look like he hasn't started moving towards you yet.
Right.
He's mostly just looking incredulously at you.
Can I fire an arrow at the spider that Arri is holding?
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know whether there was a angle issue or not.
No.
So the fact that it's not really dodging all that much.
Yeah, so I'll give you a free asset for it being pinned, and then whatever else you have.
Oh, I'm gonna die.
No, Arri, don't worry. I'm gonna help you. It's gonna be fine.
Oh, thank God.
Oh
Fine.
my
It's gonna
god.
be okay.
Okay, so you're trained, used an asset, you spent effort, and you struck the shit out of this thing, and you got +1 damage. So how much damage does your bow? Your bow is what? Is it a light weapon or a medium?
It's
weapon?
a regular bow, so it's medium. So
Okay.
it normally does 4.
Mhm.
It does pierce 1.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you used pierce on it.
Yeah,
Okay, so what does pierce do? Add it, increase the damage by 1.
by 1. So it's normally 5.
Yep.
That'll make it 6.
Yep. Okay. So describe to me what it looks like through the tree line as you sever this webbing cable holding you. That you fire an arrow and strike and kill the creature that is in Arri's arms.
All right, so I'm lying on the ground, having been drug away by this weird creature. He's not immediately offering me any kind of threat,
Right.
so my loyalty has to go back towards the party. So I kind of draw back with my arm, just basically draped across the ground, and I let loose the arrow, and it whisks through a couple different trees and strikes the side of the spider, going through this eye and out the other.
Nice.
So while he's sitting there holding it,
I like it.
Right at his face level.
I like it. So you get splattered with this purple goo that sort of just sprays across you as an arrow appears in this thing's face, which you see as it is snarling at you, and you see its 4 pincers, its 4 fangs just sort of. And you can see the ichor dripping off of each one of them, knowing that there is poison in each one of those fang tubes. And it goes limp in your arm. All of the skittering legs kind of curl up underneath it. And you have killed one of these spiders. Silica, you are watching this as an arrow appears in the head of this thing, and it stops moving and curls up. What are you doing?
So I'm a little taken aback because I don't know if I saw what was happening with Zariff, and like this arrow has come out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, this giant teddy bear that Arri was hugging is dead. But there are still 2 other spiders.
Yes.
That need to be taken care of.
One has an arrow in it, and one has Wyloch attacking it.
So I would probably just turn to whichever one is closer.
The Wyloch one. He was in the center of this group of people.
Okay, so I'm gonna go, and I just want to dive bomb this next spider.
Okay, cool.
It was just a normal attack.
Okay.
So Silica, you're using the forearm blade, right?
Yes.
All right, so you know that that's a light weapon and then counts as an asset to reduce the difficulty?
I don't know if I've been doing that.
Okay.
Yes.
Please make sure. Light weapons reduce the difficulty of attacks because they're so quick.
Yep.
So instead of being a 6, it would be a 5, or I could just add an asset.
Yes.
Like it works either way. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and just lay the smack down. Add an asset, because that just makes it easier in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Son of a biscuit! What? Come on!
You rolled a 2 there
Yes, I did.
Who's got XP?
on that one. You have XP.
Oh,
you
here,
can re-roll
I'll
that.
give
You have
I'll
one.
give you experience.
You have
oh,
one.
You have experience.
I have an XP, so I am going to re-roll that. So I stumble, like I fumble the execution a little bit, but I want to have a chance to recover here.
Absolutely.
You can do it.
Garbage.
And you can change it. If you want to spend effort to do so, you can spend effort still.
I can spend effort or XP.
You can spend an XP to re-roll, and then if you want to add effort to that to
Right.
reduce the difficulty, you can.
I'm not doing great on health because I'm poisoned. So
What?
I got heckin' bit by spiders. So
Sure
I don't
did.
know. I don't know if it's. I'm just gonna try for the re-roll.
Okay.
and just see if I get lucky. But I don't.
You don't. So you run over there. The blade kind of comes out, and you go to jab this thing, but the still confused and stumbly Wyloch sort of steps in your way, and you have to last time you have to dodge out of the way and sort of hit this thing, and you don't get the angle quite right as you attack towards this thing. However, the spider is now aware that you're there, and the other spider moves towards the closest targets, being you and Wyloch. The spider with the weapon is going to move towards Silica, and the spider without the weapon, with the arrow in its back of its head, is going to move towards Wyloch. So I need both of you to make that speed defense.
My shield and add an effort. You have got to be kidding me. Like, who did this?
I'm giving you my XP to reroll that.
Who hurt you?
I did all the things. I did the effort. I did I had all the things.
Who hurt you? So Arri gives you his XP for you to reroll that.
Oh my god.
Wyloch, do you want to reroll?
My target's really high. I don't know if we want to waste more XP on it.
I just don't want the GM intrusion.
That's fine.
You know, yeah.
So so I'm just gonna straight up re-roll.
Yes.
Shield. I'm gonna expend. Do I need to expend another effort?
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to, you can also
Well,
choose not
yes. Okay, but I can.
Yes.
All right. So okay, no, I kind of want to talk myself into a bonus, or talk you into giving me a bonus,
Sure,
or
go for
something
it.
else.
Go for it.
I mean, maybe they're intimidated because one of their guys is dead.
Have they lost any morale, losing their spider friend?
Sure. You can have an asset for the loss of morale here. I think chat wants to give you guys a morale boost, so yeah, we'll... Oh god damn. Okay, cool. So you succeed with a mini crit, which means you get to add a minor effect to that. No, you can't just kill it.
Okay. That's not minor enough.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's not minor enough. So, oh man, I'm trying to think what you can do for this.
Could the minor effect be she dodged so nimbly the spider bit the other spider?
It cannot. It can be that she dodged so nimbly that this spider is distracted, and now everyone has a +1 to hit this spider.
I like that. Let's go.
That works.
Cool. So the spider with Ari's hammer is now distracted and dazzled by your flourish of an escape tactic, and now everyone has a +1 bonus to hit this creature as well, which is fortunate because it is in fact Ari's turn. So Arri, I assume you release the corpse of a spider that you're carrying.
Correct.
And the spider that has your weapon is now confused.
I see that it has my weapon, and I'm really angry, and I want my weapon back. I want to lean into my metal shoulder and run as hard as I can and try to, like, smash it up against a tree.
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay. Yeah. Oh God. Help me, Jeebus.
Come on, Arri, you can do it.
Oh, and I have an asset, so shoot, I need to redo that.
I see Arri like rushing at the spider, and I'm like, yes.
I'm also like, yes, please.
Good Lord.
What?
I think it's broken.
No,
It's gotta be.
You're gonna have my XP. You're gonna have my XP, and we're not gonna have another GM intrusion.
Okay.
Oh no.
Rolling again. I'm getting low on might, guys.
Yep. The glaives are not doing good.
Okay, at least it's not a 1. I'm
But it's
sorry. I don't know what's happening here. So yeah, you charge towards this thing, and you...
Oh, it's right on the cusp.
Man, that is really close. So you charge this thing, and your shoulder impacts with this thing, but your shoulder impacts a little high and hits the hammer, and sort of just throws this thing back a little bit. Still distracted, but didn't exactly have the effect you wanted with this ability here. However, Wyloch, it is your turn, and you do see a distracted spider in front of you, the one that smashed you in the leg.
Yeah, but did we address my most recent speed defense?
Did we?
I don't think we did.
Oh
Did you look
yeah,
up?
we didn't. You take 4 damage.
Okay, so I have 2 might.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 damage minus 1 would be 3.
Yep.
So
what
you
that
take
does
2
is you take 2 might damage, you're now down to 0, and you take 1 speed damage. And now on your character sheet, there should be where it says your statuses. It should say Hail, Disabled. Click the next one down. So you're currently on Hail. Click the one below it.
Debilitated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome.
Unfortunately, what that means is now all of your difficulty, all of your things are 1 step harder.
Okay.
Because you are broke.
Okay.
Sorry, it would be not debilitated. It's impaired. So it's the one to the left, the one to the right, rather.
Effort costs 1 extra point per level.
Yep, and you only deal, on a 17 plus, you can only deal 1 damage. It ignores any major or minor effects.
Okay, so it doesn't make everything 1 level.
No, that's one of the next ones. Yeah, so if you go to spend effort, it instead costs 4 instead of 3.
Okay. All right, so is there a wounded spider around?
There is. There's one that bit you with an arrow in its head, and there's the one that has Arri's hammer that is currently charging.
We're going to make this happen. I'm going to cast another bolt of energy.
So
Throw it at it.
Just so you know, the one with Arri's hammer is distracted, and it gives you a free +1 to that.
That's a +1 to the roll, not to the difficulty.
That's the same thing. +1 to your ability reduces the difficulty by 1. So you having an asset takes it from a 6 to a 5.
Yes, we'll do him. Okay. So it's a 5. I will. I'll use effort. And no asset because I already made it a 5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And no bonus.
Right.
Okay.
I don't have any more descriptions for this. So you miss, and that brings us to let's see, Wyloch, Zariff. Zariff, you are in the middle of the woods, and as you, I assume, prepare to bring out your bow again, you hear grumble from behind you. The man runs up behind you. You feel a blade press against your back, and he slices up. And you expecting to feel searing pain as it hits you. Instead, you feel a release of pressure around your waist as he has freed you from the bind around your waist. And he sort of grabs a hand on your shoulder and helps to pick you up and says, "Stupid, why would you do this? I was saving you." And he sort of pushes you out of the way as he draws his bow and begins to fire on this other guy, on the same one he has an arrow in. So you may make your attack as well as this guy lifts you to your feet.
So I'll grumble a thanks as as I release my arrow. So from the dude who's got Arri's hammer,
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be distracted, not knowing where I am.
Yes.
And he's got the shot on him from Arri. Is that 2 assets I can claim?
I'll give you that argument. Yeah, sure.
All right.
Stealth. I'll give you the stealth argument.
Like, I have to at this point.
I mean, that's the benefit of Numenera. If you can argue a reason that you have an asset or a bonus, go nuts.
All right,
As long as it's not like crazy out there.
That is a 6. I will apply effort. I have 2 assets because that's all I can claim.
Mm-hmm.
You have got to be freaking kidding me.
I don't know what to say about this.
Again, I'm gonna go get a beer.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna drink it. We're gonna have a recovery after this. So you fire this thing, still sort of confused about the happenings that just took place. But fortunately for your friends, there are 2 arrows sort of shoot out of the woods. One strikes it, one doesn't, and they don't know which one it was. So you can claim that arrow was yours. But you see the another arrow streak out of the woods and sting into the one holding Arri's hammer. As you assume that it was Zariff being a badass in the woods. However, it is currently...
I fired 2 arrows, yes. That's...
I am the coolest of everyone. Silica, it is your turn. What are you doing?
So, do I feel like I have an advantage on either of these spiders? One just got, acupunctured, and the other one is off balance somehow? Or is that the same spider?
So, I'll tell you what, since it's not the spider's turn and it was a defense, you still have the advantage on the spider with the hammer, the one that you deftly maneuvered away from.
Okay.
It is still confused and distracted.
So does it cost you anything to do the flourish that gives everybody the advantage?
No.
Then you need to be doing that.
It doesn't seem to cost anything.
Nope.
Then you need to do that every time.
Yeah.
So that we can exploit every little thing, because we can't roll worth a damn here, apparently.
Right.
Be creative, Kenny. Every attack.
Yeah. Just can you crank out that creativity, please?
Just print out a list of quips that you can say.
All right.
Get flanking bonuses, everybody. Surround this thing. Kick dirt in its face. I don't care what you do, but we can't.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to take this this spider that's confused and off balance that has Arri's hammer. I'm ready to take that thing out. So I'm actually going to do a low sweeping kick on the ground.
Okay.
Which I can do a no attack flourish and no need for weapons, because if I attack without a weapon, whether it's a kick or a punch or something, it counts as a medium weapon. So that'll hit for 4 damage.
Okay.
And my goal is to like stir up some. Oh, there's no dust. So there's no dust, but basically if I can do some damage and throw this spider up, keep him off balance, almost like Arri's bash does. I want to keep him off his game.
Okay, so you're not going to keep it distracted, but your flourishing will give everyone a bonus to attack because of how badass you are. So you won't stack twice, but you can do that low sweeping kick and try to like take it off its feet. It won't actually put it prone because that's not what your ability does.
It almost looks like a break dance kind of.
Yeah, it looks like some capoeira. You just kind of pulled on the old dance floor there. Yeah, absolutely. So it is still a little bit dazed, so you have a +1 asset to that. So go ahead and roll. Please just hit.
Please,
for me. Just like for me.
I'm gonna add effort, even though I am very close to being not okay.
That's fine.
It's worth it, I think.
We're out of XP, so I don't think
everyone still gets the bonus.
I am a family-friendly streamer, and I just the words.
You can let it out. We're on YouTube now. It's fine.
We're on the same Dice channel now.
Oh no, golly. Okay, so you do some capoeira moves, and as you sort of do, it sort of regains its composure, and its front 2 legs sort of lift up, and its hands raise the hammer above it as you go to sweep those two appendages, and it sort of rears up like a horse, and you miss underneath those, and it clambers back down. It still looked dope, so everyone else still gets the bonus. However, Arri, you're getting an attack, and I believe Wyloch, you're getting an attack. So I need the DC 6 speed defense for you two.
I want to kill it. I want to kill it real bad.
Woo! Oh my god! Okay, so you successfully dodge out of the way. Unfortunately, there's no damage on that, but you can add a minor effect. So the minor effect on this one... so I'll give you an option here. You can add a minor effect and make this one also distracted, or you can add a minor effect... Man, that gives... I don't think that's enough. Is that enough? You rolled a 9 plus bonus. Wait, what did you roll? So it was a 6, then a 5. Yeah, that would even work. So yeah, what other ideas do you have for minor effects?
Can I free my hands?
Yes, you absolutely can. So you dodge out of the way, and the way this thing, like the way it brings the hammer down, you just sort of put your hands out and pull your body back, and the force splays the webbing that was attached to your hands, breaking you free. Unfortunately, Wyloch is still feeling the pressure of the poison coursing through his body, and you take 4 more poison damage.
Armor
Yikes.
still applies, right?
Armor still
You know,
applies.
Dynamite?
Yep. Yeah, armor is a mental thing for him, so it still applies. It applies no matter what, anyway.
So 4 more damage.
Yes, well, minus the 1 for your armor, so 3 more damage. And that
Okay.
comes out of your speed.
Well, 2 of them come out of speed, and then I guess 1 goes to intellect.
Are you down on speed?
Yeah, might and speed are 0. Intellect,
You're now debilitated.
yes.
Arri, Wyloch looks bad.
Yeah. Okay.
It's your turn.
Who's in? I have a +1 to. Oh, I just have a +1 because of her like stylish.
On the one with the mace.
I'm gonna go and protect Wyloch, and he's got my mace. Can I need to wrestle my mate. Wait, I've got a spear. Can I take a spear out?
Absolutely.
And, all right, I take a spear out now that my hands are free, and I chuck it at the one that's like hitting Wyloch.
Okay, sure. That one you don't have a +1 bonus against.
Oh, okay.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. You do. You have a +1 bonus because it's Silica, and she did a badass move. So you have
Correct.
the bonus. Yes. So you still have the +1.
All right. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh my
God! The dice gods have smiled upon you. Okay.
Oh my God.
That is enough to kill this thing. Please describe how you kill it.
So I like see this guy in front of me. He's got my maul, and he's kind of just scuttling back and forth. And I'm like, and then I look over and I see Wyloch's really hurt, and it's like I don't even think. Like my reflex, I just reach behind me, grab a spear, and like chuck it as hard as I can, and then I immediately go back to this guy in front of me with my maul, not even like paying attention if it hit or not.
Just throw this thing. Perfect. So it does. And Wyloch, you gain the most out of this as it sort of... And you see the purple ichor just sort of splat out of it as you're slowly reeling from the 2 attacks you've just received, and your body is failing you. However, it is your turn. There is 1 left. An arrow sticks out of its hide somewhere as you slowly lose the will to live.
Okay, well, I have 3 intellect in my pool. Cannot take any action other than to move or crawl immediate distance. If speed is 0, cannot move. So I don't think I can do anything.
Yeah.
So that's debilitated. No action other than to move or crawl.
Yep. And you can't crawl because your speed is 0. However, have you spent your 1 action heal?
What is that?
You on the healing track, which one have you spent?
Yeah, we both Wyloch and I did.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, you can only moan and die in pain.
All right, so I do that.
Unfortunately, you do that as an action.
Yes.
God damn it. Zariff, you see Wyloch moaning and dying as an action. What do you do?
So again, I use the trees to get stealth. I realize that Silica is a badass. I expend some effort, and I make a shot.
And you succeed.
And I succeed.
By the gods, you succeed.
So that is six damage with an arrow into the spider.
Okay, so that is enough to finally kill that spider as well. So another arrow sinks into this beast. The hammer drops. Okay.
So this one goes through the thing's throat. Just as the thing is gonna bear down on the Wyloch, the arrow comes out, and he kind of falls to the left so that the arrow doesn't hit him in the face.
Perfect. And now,
I pick up my maul.
because I am the worst, Silica and Arri, you both gain a XP because I am having a GM intrusion on both of you. So the 2 of you can decide who to give another XP to. As you go to bend down to pick up the maul, and you feel a tight pinch in the side of your neck, And Arri, you see him slump. Oh, sorry, Silica, you see him slump down, and before you can get the words out of your mouth, you feel a tight pinch in the back of your neck. And from the woods, Zariff, you feel someone reach and grab your shoulder as 4 more of these same similarly dressed people rush out of the forest and begin to grab these people and drag the immobile Wyloch towards the forest that you are in. And that is where we'll end tonight's episode. Hot damn. So, Silica, who do you give your XP to?
Will it help Wyloch not die?
It won't, but he's fine. He just needs to rest.
He's fine. He just needs sleep. I will give it to Wyloch anyways.
Perfect. So, Wyloch, you have 1, and Arri, who are you giving your extra 1 to?
I'll give it to Zariff.
Perfect. So you all have 1 XP. That's how we end this episode, as a random force of people you had previously unseen abscond with you into the forest.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, jeez.
So let's go around and get your thoughts on whatever just happened, and hear from our sponsors, and then get the hell out of here. We'll start with Bill. Bill, what happened, man?
It's RNG. I don't think that, a lot of people are asking what we're playing and everything. This should not turn you off of Numenera. This was a real freak occurrence.
Yeah.
I think in the first session we had a lot of good rolls and a lot of good story come from it. And frankly, we got some good story here too. I don't think any of us are ever going to forget this.
Yeah.
But
it's a very humbling moment as adventurers.
Yeah. But combat aside, we had the cutaway, which was pretty cool. I don't know if it's clear or not, but I actually don't know my character's backstory because of the amnesia thing. So it's fun for me to figure out what Mike has in store.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Cool. Where can people find you on the internet?
I have a YouTube channel called Wyloch's Crafting Vids. I show you how to make tabletop terrain for your role playing or your war games very cheaply with cardboard and hot glue.
Fantastic. We'll jump over to someone who had almost as bad of a time. Silica or Kenny, who are you, and what do you think of this, and where can we find you on the internet?
I mean, the 13th rule of adventuring is any adventure you walk away from was a good adventure. So, I mean, it was a lot of fun despite the terrible rolls. I stream mostly on Twitch, twitch.tv/Kenny Hill, KENIHILL. I do a lot of safe for work, family-friendly stuff, unlike what you may have experienced here tonight.
Whoops. That's one of the features I like of Numenera, is that in like D&D, when I roll hot as a DM, everyone's like, God damn the DM! But in Numenera, it's a DM diceless game, so all the rolls are you. That's just, you can only be mad at yourself. Which is great for me. It takes a lot of the pressure off. We'll jump over to Jordan. What did you think, and where can we find you on the internet?
I don't know why I was thinking this, but we hadn't done combat yet, and I was thinking Numenera combat was going to be boring, and it was anything but. So this was epic. This was really fun. And I'm on YouTube. You can find me at youtube.com/JORPHDAN, and I do Forgotten Realms lore and history videos, Dungeons and Dragons lore. We make little videos on that, so check it out.
Sweet deal. And last but definitely not least, Ted, what did you think of tonight? Where can we find you, and who are our sponsors tonight?
Absolutely. All right. So the game was awesome, despite, as everybody's saying, the dice just didn't treat us well. I think the ye old dice gods want us to use real dice, not dice rolling apps. I don't know. That just might just be me. I thought it was really awesome for you to incorporate the what was the thing called, the
Philithus? Mm-hmm.
That went into characters' backstories, and my dry, emotionless character, you got to see that in his past he was kind of more jokey and social, and now he's not. So I like that you kind of incorporated that into it. If you want to hear gaming tips and D&D discussions and pretty much things about just general role-playing games, Nerdarchy is the channel for you. And as I said in the beginning, you can find us anywhere that you just search for Nerdarchy, but primarily we're on YouTube, we got the website, and we're on social media. So we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, Dungeon Painter Studios, pyromancers.com. If you want to have great maps and some session prep materials, that's a great place to go. If you're looking for 3D printed terrain, minis, that kind of stuff, you can head over to Archania Workshop. His stuff is awesome. I know firsthand because I've got a bunch of it. So go check out our sponsors. For the next couple of days, Archania Workshop does have a promo code down in the description below. You can find all the links and that code, but it's Saver Dice, 10% off your order. Go check it out. And one last final announcement or what have you. Harbinger game that's normally Wednesday night will not be running on the Saver Dice channel. Stay tuned for next week.
Sweet. There's also a giveaway going on for Archania right now. I believe this is the last week for it. If I'm wrong, Cody will say so. But I think that's true. And if you guys want to see more of me, you guys can find me here on YouTube and also on Twitch and all things Unmade Gaming if you want to see more of this wacky DM style that I have. And yeah, guys, I believe that's it from us. Bye-bye.